Do not adjust your radio dial. You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
Would help if I turned my mic on. Oh, it's Wednesday night. The mood is right. You know what that means. It's time for the Mark Order Podcast. Part of the Shining Wizards Network.
Yeah, I think you're in the wrong microphone.
What do you mean?
You sound all echoey and far away.
Oh, hold on. I know what happened. Sorry. Pardon me. Hold on.
What the fuck happened?
Bear with me. Bear with me.
Now I can't
No.
hear you. Oh, there he is. There he is.
Should be
We
better.
found him.
Sorry. No, so I should explain too. Different camera angle.
I know. I was
I,
going to comment.
Yeah. So me and Mrs. Money had a little bit of time last weekend and this weekend to work in the office / studio / guest bedroom and clear out a whole bunch of stuff that had been sort of compiled over the pandemic.
Nice.
So we did that, which means like all of my stuff that used to be behind me is sort of gone into different places. And we wound up getting a new desk.
Excuse me.
You're excused.
Sorry.
We wound up getting a new desk, of course, after the pandemic when I'll be going back into the office like 3 days a week.
Womp womp.
But we got a new desk. And the reason we wanted a new desk was we didn't like the other one. It didn't have enough room for 2 monitors. Kate, I finally have 2 monitors in front of me.
Look at you.
So over here, I have us in a big screen so I can see what you guys are doing finally instead of being like, what is that on Ryan's background? And then over
Love that
here,
for us.
I have everything else. So my camera angles have changed. And what I had to do too was move where my microphone was on the desk. And I'm still sort of getting used to it. So when I was adjusting it tonight, I heard it click out and click on. So it like came unplugged and plugged back in. So it reset all my fucking microphone settings. So
Got you.
my apologies. I'm
You're
not
good.
as
You're
professional
good,
as I
brother.
thought I was.
With the multiple camera angles now, you could do like a Kevin Dunn
Don't worry,
back and forth
Kate.
thing.
Don't worry. I'm working on a second camera angle to watch me from the other
Okay.
side.
Okay. I'm still
Uh,
working on my setup a little bit. I had it, but a lot of my soundproofing fell off. You really have to do the like soak it overnight and ring it out thing. Otherwise, they really don't stick, which
That
is
egg
annoying.
cratey soundproofing looking stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like the real stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. You also have to make sure your walls are very clean.
That I was good on. That I wiped them down, and like half of it stuck. But they were like, you might be able to skip this step because they're self-adhesive. No, you can't. You really can't.
Don't skip the steps. So yeah, I'm getting used to this. I'm working on a second camera angle at some point.
Love that
But
for you.
well, here was my other problem. Nerd alert. For my laptop to work here at home, I also wanted these 2 screens. So now I have 2 screens plus the laptop.
All right.
Of course, again, I'm like 2 weeks away from going back into the office 3 days a week. But I finally have it set up. But what the problem was my screens only have a limited number of inputs. And my tower has a certain number of outputs. And it took me like 4 or 5 days to get this second screen working for the PC. So until this morning, I only still was working off 1 screen. So this is very exciting for me. It's a new dawn.
This is his maiden voyage.
It's a new dawn. It is. It's a new day. It's a
Yes,
new
it is.
life. And I'm feeling good.
I'm very happy to hear that. I love that we have new setups happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I just have to figure out what to do back here because right now it's just a bunch of piled up stuff that eventually will be gone.
I think when you get the multiple camera angles, you need to make it like the Mad Money set. Remember the Mad Money guy?
Oh,
You could just
Jim
be like
Cramer?
screaming about yeah. You could like have scenes of Dynamite playing in the background and be shouting about them and be like, Kip Sabian, his stock is going way up. Just
We're
shouting.
bullish. I'm bullish on Kip Sabian.
It's perfect.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing too, Kate, is for how long have I been saying too, like I really want like a little soundboard just so that I can play
Yes.
random clips of you being like, I want to fuck.
I want to fuck Peter Avalon. You mean things
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, and I want to just be able to play it so that for the people who aren't watching, they're just going to think you're randomly yelling like,
Especially like on weeks I can't be here. Just,
right.
it'll
No.
be like
When you're
another-
not here, we're just absolutely not going to play your sounds.
No. I
It's
was gonna say it'd be like I never left if you just got me shouting about Peter Avalon.
Then where's the vacation?
You know what? That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
So yeah,
Where's the vacation? I can tell you where it is this weekend, Aunt.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm not gonna lie, Kate. I keep forgetting. Forgetting. But we will be in at New Japan this weekend.
We will. We'll be in DC and then we'll be in Philadelphia.
As whirlwind a trip as whirlwind could be.
As whirlwind.
That's right. Whirlwind. Whirlwind trip.
That should be the name of the episode. We're 6 minutes in and we got it.
Whirlwind episode.
A whirlwind Dynamite.
Yes, Kate, thank you for reminding me. We're gonna be at New Japan in DC on Saturday, and we're gonna be at New Japan on Sunday in Philadelphia. So Kate, myself, and Millionaire Matt will be there Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, joining us for Philadelphia will be Ryan Schlong, because he doesn't actually like have to leave his house. The bubble will travel that far to Philadelphia.
Yes, it'll fill it. It fits into the 2300 arena. We've already tested it. Yep.
Everything works fine. So Bubble Boy will be there.
To your point about not knowing what it is, I have it in my calendar. This is really a Matt driven trip as far as like he got the tickets, he got the hotel, which is both wonderful in like responsibility load, but nerve wracking to your point in the execution. I'm not really want to talk because I got us a haunted hotel once.
You did. There was a ghost.
I think Matt was just the ghost though.
I don't know about that. I couldn't see anything. It was dark. So
it sounded a lot like Matt.
But that's the funny thing about ghosts. I mean, they can basically, I guess, be whatever they want to be, right?
I believe it was William Churchill who once said, I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Oh, that sounds about right. Yeah, that does sound like a Churchill.
Him or Gandhi.
Was it the ghost or Matt that asked if we have dreams?
That was just Matt. That was just regular old Matt.
I couldn't remember.
Just laying there. He was so tired, but he turned into a toddler. You were just tired and wanted to go to the fuck to sleep. And I was like somewhere in between. But him just turning into you were like, oh, you know what? It'll be fun. Love my kid, but I got a day away from him. It'll be nice to hang out like with the adults again. That is not what happened. No.
And I'm always prepared for that now. So like I'm always
that was the maiden voyage of that too.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
It's hysterical.
It is. And I am looking forward to an overnighter with Matt, because at some point I would anticipate, Kate, that he may jump in the shower and we may just like you and me sit outside on each other's, like on our respective beds, and we just listen to Matt rambling,
talking to himself,
not even knowing what he's saying.
No,
just all we hear, all it sounds like is basically this.
It sounds like a Charlie Brown teacher.
Yeah.
And then like a good old Ed McMahon laugh. It was almost like, I'm so used to that version of Matt when we were there for baseball and he was like a little bit more normal. It was like almost disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
I have expectations.
It was. And that is the only, so that's the other thing, Kate, is normally I'm good to stay up till whenever. Like I can stay up, you want to stay up till like 3 or 4. We did it in Baltimore for for
Yeah,
the
we
final
did.
battle. We were up
They
super
literally
late.
turned off the lights in the hotel lobby, and we were like, "Nope, we're sticking
Yeah,
around."
we're just gonna
So
stay
did
there.
other people. We're not heathens, but
Yeah.
that was funny.
But yeah, that trip after sitting out in the sun at a baseball game all day and then sitting through wrestling all night with no breaks, like there was no nap, no nothing. I was just like, I really just want to go to sleep. Like, please
And
let
we
me.
had the drive there, but yeah, that was super fun. But like,
And you
that
went the
was
wrong way
fun.
the first part of that drive.
Yes, we did. I was not driving.
It's
To
your own
clarify.
fault.
It's not my fault. I wasn't driving the car.
I guess you're right.
That
But
was
you
the
did get
doctor.
in the car. That'll teach you from getting in the car with a stranger again.
He wasn't a stranger. He was a stranger to what direction to drive on the turnpike.
It's true. Not a stranger to texting and driving, though. That's a
Evidently.
crazy thing.
It's not good.
So yes, we'll be there. We'll be there Saturday and Sunday. If you're gonna be there, let us know. Hit us up. We'll have stickers, so we can always hand out some stickers. If
You don't even have to pay for shipping when it's in person.
no, I get to save a few bucks on
That's
the
right.
shipping. Unless you want us to ship to Australia, then I can't do anything about that. I'm just gonna
That's
have to
true.
ship it. So
Shipping
that'll be
good.
fun. That'll be fun. Kate, guess what else I got?
What else did you get?
Actually, before we do that, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Oh my god, I'm so tired and my throat hurts so bad. But I'm good.
How was Excite? Did you work it all in?
I did. I think I got them all. What's tricky is I don't know which ones are the pre-show student matches and what ones are the full-on student matches. And they go on first, so it's fresh on my mind. But I
Mhm.
did get them in. No soup for you. I said no suplex for you, which I was very proud of myself for.
I mean, it's technically not an exact, but
It technically wasn't, but it was like it was gonna be hard to get in there otherwise. But it was really, really fun. They run 2 venues, and the one venue is just, I can't remember if I talked about this already, but it's like half of an entire former Sears department store or something. It's
oh wow.
enormous. So it looks great because it's customizable, and even in the like back area, there's just a whole separate rings where they can like agent their matches and go through stuff. Like not like full setup, but like they get to work it out, and there's couches and a TV. There were like old Dusty Rhodes matches up when we were there. And then the other one that's like closer to my hometown or whatever was super, super fun too. That was a really fun card. So we're having
Nice.
a blast there.
Well, that's great. That is
Yeah.
good.
LSG got spanked on the ass with a paddle from Dante Trago. And so there was a wrestler named Cloudy. They had a triple threat, and Dante's whole thing is he's like a frat boy, so he comes out with a paddle. It was really, really fun.
Oh my god. Poor
Fun, man.
LSG.
I know. He got the win though, so
Well, that's good.
good on him.
I was at the gym last night, and I was leaving, and the guy who does like the overnight, well, late evening through the overnight, stopped me to ask me about some wrestling stuff because I assume he knew I was a wrestling fan because my shorts I had some chalk lines on. They were the Ultimate Challenge WrestleMania shorts with
Ooh,
Hogan.
all right.
It's Hogan locking it up with Ultimate Warrior.
So nice to hear someone say Hogan and it not have like a disgusting Philly Hogan.
Yeah, don't worry. You're not going to get the Hogan.
What a freeing night.
As you guys could probably tell, this is the professional A team of the Mark Order podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan said he couldn't be bothered tonight. So he stopped me to talk to me about some wrestling stuff, and he had said he does House of Glory. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like,
he's a wrestler, or
yeah, but I don't know his ring name, so I don't want to give anything.
You don't want to be like, oh, dude, what's your? Yeah, you don't want to be that guy.
I mean, we were just talking about random stuff. Like, he saw the shorts, so he knew. I mean, he might have known too because I was rocking the Good Brother Summer tie-dye t-shirt or tie-dye tank.
That's a great tank.
It is, and I'll tell you this, Kate, I don't look like a sausage in it anymore, so that's always nice. But So he was. I'm getting back to the point. I couldn't remember where I was going with this. He had asked me about some other stuff I watch, and I don't remember how we got onto it, but he's like, "Oh, do you know LSG?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually, like I hung out with LSG like last week, like through
Opening
blah
day
blah blah."
friends.
Yeah, and he was just like, "LSG's so sweet. He's the man." I was like, "Yes, he is. He is
Aww.
so sweet.
Aww.
He is so sweet."
I'm trying to think if there's any other. I think everybody else on Excite, like Matt would probably know from interviewing him, but I don't think there's any like, certainly not going to baseball games with us level
No.
people that you would have recognized on that card. But
Spending opening day with on Matt's couch, opening baseball cards, and then getting yelled at because you're opening too many baseball cards.
I know, especially when there's like 100 packs left still.
I'm like, if they're not here, then it's their goddamn fault.
Yeah, Danny, mostly.
Yes. That was like a Sasquatch sighting.
I left before it too. I didn't even get to see him.
Yeah, I was gone. Well gone before that happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kate, glad to hear Excite went well.
I did.
I got something in the mail yesterday.
You did? Da 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 da, the All Elite crate.
Let's take a look at what's in here. And Kate, I'm going to use Jay White to open up the box.
Switchblade.
That's what I call it now. I just call it Jay White.
I love that.
Come on, Jay White.
I remember someone, did you say it was Gina or was it someone on the podcast was like, why do you need a switchblade? And you were like, why wouldn't I need a switchblade?
Yeah, it was Ryan. Ryan goes, why do you have that? And I was like, I saw it and I wanted it.
You're like, why wouldn't I have a switchblade?
Why wouldn't I have one?
Why wouldn't I have a Jay White?
So what that it's illegal? All right, let's see. So this is the Double or Nothing 2023 crate. I keep forgetting, like it comes a month ahead. So I'm like, wait, where are we in this?
Double or muffin?
Double or muffin. All right, so we get 2 t-shirts. Let's see here. Let's do this one. Oh, this is a sweet one. This is the
Too sweet?
No, it's not.
Okay.
This is the Vegas.
Ooh, very nice.
It's a sweet one.
It almost looks like, when you drive around a Christmas lights display?
Yeah. I mean, I guess
looks like you're driving through a Christmas light.
I sound like I'm so far away now. I guess it's supposed to be like neon lights in Vegas.
Oh, sure. But just the way they're packed in the car, it looks like they're going through a Christmas light display.
That's Chaos, by the way. That's a Chaos t-shirt, technically.
That is true. Founding member Sue, isn't it?
Well, Kate, I definitely love this shirt. I love it because I love that Danhausen.
Oh, great shirt, Hausen. That's fantastic.
Wonderful shirt, Hausen, for a man who's injured, Hausen.
Yes, we hope he gets better, Hausen.
And that'll be great to wear with the jacket that I have over here that you can't see in the frame anymore. That's why I need a second camera, so I could be like, switch. Blade. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Some FTR stickers.
7-star. Not anymore, baby. They're like 100-star FTR.
That's right. That's right. That's why they're getting rid of these. They're selling them off. It's an FTR sticker pack. Oh, this is all right. Mrs. Money's probably listening, maybe not chatting, maybe not. But Kate, don't tell her I have this or she's going to want it. It is a Claudio Castagnoli micro brawler.
I love that one. Look at his little face.
I know. He looks good.
That's a really good one.
I can't lose that one.
We'll never see it again.
Yeah, I better put it away somewhere. I'll never see it. Oh, this is a good one. This is a Chris Jericho micro brawler keychain.
I can't even, because my throat hurts so bad. I can't even do that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry.
It's just upsetting.
Let's see. What is this?
I miss Cruise Director Mike. Giving him to Matt was the worst idea ever.
Tell him this weekend you want it back.
I should, and I will.
You're like, I need it. It goes in my background. This is a weird one. Not necessarily weird, but like, I'm almost like, maybe you should have just left this out of the box. But it's actually not on their card here, so I feel like they just were like, throw it in. It's like this tiny little AEW Vegas magnet. I don't know what it's good for.
Wow, the crate is just...
But it's not
Here's
even.
what we had extra of.
It's not even on the card, so I'm thinking they were just like, I don't know what this is. Throw it in. But I do have that in pin form, so
Very nice.
that's
Pins
better.
are always nice. Love
Pins
a
are good. Pins are good. Pins are good. I'm not gonna open this all the way up, but I'm gonna have to. It's a flag. I don't have any wrestling flags. And Kate, I think you'll appreciate this one. It's not an Eddie. I'm sorry.
Is
But I
it a
still think
Chicago
you'll
flag?
appreciate it. No. No, they probably tried to fire sale that stuff. It's a Danielson.
Ooh, love that because I like that maroon too. It's good. It's like a little. It's a different in the camera than I'm assuming in person a little bit, but that like maroon red is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not like fire engine red. It's a nice shade. I will say this though. Here's a little disappointing thing. There's no like you know how the flags will have those like brass like rings in them so you can hang it?
Yes.
There's nothing like that on this. There's no like little eyelets.
Well, that's rude.
You know. That's why it's in the crate. But I don't care because I like this.
Hell yeah.
This will get hung up somewhere. A couple of things left. There's a poster. Get out of here. Poster. So this is the Double or Nothing 2020 poster. So this is actually a pretty good one. This is Moxley, Brody Lee.
Oh, that's awesome. Love that.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Kate, we have an autograph. Now, this is always a game we like to play. Sorry, I'm getting used to where my microphone is, so I keep talking one way, and I'm like, it's not there.
You're fine.
Autograph 8x10.
Look at this autograph.
I like it.
It's of...
Who do we think it is? Now,
Lance Archer.
If that's your final guess.
I thought I normally get 3.
Okay. I can tell you this. You're way off with Lance Archer. I'll even give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. It's a female.
Oh, okay. Can I interest you in a Ruby Soho, perhaps?
Ding, ding, ding.
What?
That's actually pretty good. That's a pretty good signed 8x10 to have.
That really is. She's such a badass. That's awesome.
It's a good one to have. Pre-Outcast.
Pre-Outcast Ruby. The Ruby we fell in love with. The Ruby we were like, why the fuck isn't she on TV? Over and over.
That's right. And now she's on TV, but she's an outcast.
She is an outcast. And
there's your Double or Nothing 2023 All Elite crate. I think it's a pretty good one. I like the t-shirts, and I do like the flag. Or as Asian Joe said, more of a tapestry, not so much a flag.
That is true. You don't give me hooks. You don't give me hook. Send hooks.
If they gave me a hook 8x10, forget it.
Oh.
I'd be like, you can have it when you pry it from my cold, dead hands, sir. All right. So there's the crate. So if you've got one coming, that's what you're going to get in it. Sorry for spoiling it.
But you probably should have stopped watching then when he said, hey, I'm opening my crate. So
yeah, you know. All right, Kate. We don't have to spend a ton of time on it, but did you... Oh, you didn't see any Friday night?
I did not, actually. And normally I play catch up, but not so much this week.
So I can tell you this much. I don't even... I actually do have it. We're not going to go through it in depth because Ryan and I wound up doing a bonus show.
You did. You battled the belt. We
did battle belts, and we actually tried a new format. So we did a live watch along. So we just sat and talked during it, and sort of gave an idea of what was happening in the match.
I think they should call it retention of the belts.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice move.
But we did do the bonus show, so if you want to watch it, it's up here on YouTube. I put it on the podcast platforms today because I forgot to do it last week. So you can listen back to it.
Like the second half. That was LSG and the Acclaimed versus the Acclaimed, right? With Bobby Orlando, and because I was busted his balls the next day. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So
I was like,
Rampage had Hook defeating Ethan Page, right? So he retained his title. There was a QTV that was pretty good. Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange came out, and then the Acclaimed came, and they did defeat the Infantry with Bobby Orlando and LSG.
Okay.
And I can tell you this much, Kate. As soon as I saw LSG, I was like, poor LSG is going to eat another goddamn pin in an AEW ring, but he didn't.
Don't feel bad. He told me it was the easiest $900 he ever made. So.
Oh yeah, no, I know that. Darby Allin defeated Lee Moriarty.
I heard that was awesome. I
that was a good
I
match.
came in on the second half of that, but I heard that was great.
That was a good match. And then Julia Hart defeated Anna Jay. And
Yeah,
there were
that was pretty good.
there were a couple segments in between. Yeah, the matches weren't terrible. You know, Hook Ethan Page was better than I anticipated. And I think it's good because they're letting Hook, you know, sort of evolve naturally, right? Like he's not doing all this hardcore stuff. He's not doing all this tag stuff. He's like, I feel like he's hitting all these things like as they should on TV, and like that's fine. You know what I mean? Like he's still over
this is
like
kind
hell.
of the like first major story he's been in, right?
Mhm.
So I like that. It was mostly like him just squashing bitches for a while, and then he was like off TV a little bit, and then this story came into play. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so that match was good. The Acclaimed and the JAS, that's really just to get to the end point, where they turned on the Acclaimed, so like that's a means to an end. It was what it was. And then Darby Lee was good, and even Anna Jay, Julia Hart was pretty good, but the Anna Jay character I'm just still not in on. So it was okay.
But she has a fat ass and a bad attitude.
I mean, that only gets you so far in life, right?
It's gotten me really far in life, to be honest.
I mean, do you have a bad attitude?
Yeah, you do the show with me.
All right, I guess so.
Very encouraging to see from Julia Hart. She's like so young and new at this. It doesn't have a lot of reps under her belt. I thought, considering like where she's at in her career, this was a really strong showing for her.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, and there were more stakes on the line in Rampage, like that made sense to the storylines than Battle of the Belts. And again, we talked through Battle of the Belts, and we did a little after the show ended and it went off. Ryan and I kind of stuck on and talked through a couple of our thoughts. But Orange Cassidy retained against Realistico. That match was fucking great. But no belt changing hands. Jade Cargill defeating Billy Starks to retain. Woof at that match.
Yeah, Billy's really good. Jade just is not there in the ring. And
we don't have to go through it at length, Kate, because we talked about it, and people can go listen to us when we did the watch along. So yeah, that match was not great. And then the Lucha Brothers defeated Hobbs and QT Marshall to retain their Ring of Honor titles. And again, like all these matches, there were no stakes. You know what I mean? Like it was just a title match out of nowhere with no story. I mean, the biggest thing to come out of it was the fact that after Orange Cassidy's match, like when he came out, Julia Hart was exiting and he sort of like cut her off. You know what I mean? Like, well, he didn't, but like his music came on as she was still on the ramp. And she didn't look too happy. And then after the match, Buddy Matthews basically laid down the challenge for Wednesday. Like, great, fine. But that was really the most we got. And then Tay Valkyrie, and confronting Jade. But after the match she had with Billy Starks, I'm like not feeling really good about anything she could do with Tay Valkyrie. So like, I guess, Kate, your thoughts on this show. Like Ryan and I basically were saying, you got to do something. You want this to seem like it's important TV to watch, but nothing ever happens. So it's not important.
Truly nothing ever happens. And it's just a 2-hour Rampage. Like I didn't even realize it had flipped over for like the first 6 minutes. that was like, oh right, Orange Cassidy and Dralistico is the Battle of the Belts deal. It's just a 2-hour Rampage. Like it was pretty inconsequential. When you got Claudio versus Takeshita, I didn't care that it was predictable because it was so ridiculous. That was not even a thing on here, really. I mean, Dralistico and Orange Cassidy was great, but that wasn't the main event. Jade and Billy was not good. It left a lot to be desired, and Billy looked fine. And then the tag title match was just like, why are you even doing this? It was not good. So, no build, pretty boring, and not even like, well, we got an hour of banger matches. Like we didn't even get that this time, so it's hard to stay invested.
I mean, it's just one of those things where we said it, like, just give us 2 weeks. Just a short 2-week build. Give me something to sink my teeth into. Even if nothing's going to change hands, at least, I'll have something to be like, oh, there's something at stake here. There's a story that was told, even though it's only been 2 weeks. Like,
well, that's kind of the problem of like, you have Forbidden Door All In and All Out coming up, and you have these specials like thrown in. It's kind of like, I wish they had just made it like I guess you can't do that on the back of Supercard, but like just do an ROH Battle of the Belts then or whatever. Like it's all ROH titles or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not
I don't know. They just need to do something if they're going to keep doing these special shows. Give us a reason to be tuned in and invested. Like I said, even if belts aren't going to change hands, at least you've built to something and hopefully have something coming out of it. Doesn't need to be long term, but at least that's enough to sort of get me wanting to watch the show or feeling like I have to see the show. Because right now, that's not that's not how I feel. Like I'm almost like at the point of like, why even bother? But really, it's just bonus content so we can drive the organic listeners, if you get what I mean.
Well, that's the thing. It was like, it shouldn't have less stakes than Rampage, right?
Right.
Like, that's not good.
Right. And that was sort of part of the reason I said, like, hey, on Rampage, there was more to be invested in because all of them had something to do with some sort of storyline. And again, in retrospect, thinking now, like, well, the Buddy Murphy thing came out of, partially out of Battle of the Belts, and the Taya Valkyrie story continued to advance, but like it just, nothing made sense. It was just fucking stupid.
No, and that's something that could have been set up in a social media. Like nobody's going to argue about Bud Matt and Orange Cassidy not being set up like with a ton of context.
Right. I mean, it is. But yeah, so you can go listen to that show or watch it on YouTube. And if you happen to check it out, we're just interested to know if you like that format more than just a post-show sort of talk about everything that happened and recap. Because we're just trying different stuff. And if it's more fun, we'll continue to do stuff like that. But we also, Kate just talked about random shit during the show, like the possibility of going to the UK for All In, whether or not All In's going to be a pay-per-view show, or if it's going to be free quote unquote TV show, or maybe on a streaming platform like HBO Max or whatever this new thing they're going to do with HBO Discovery or Warner Discovery.
Or even like one of those 2-first, like a discounted whatever for.
Right. So we talked about all sorts of stuff during the program. So give it a listen. But we're not going to spend a ton of time on that stuff tonight because we've got a lot to talk through with Dynamite tonight. Maybe not a whole lot to sink our teeth into action-wise, but there were some surprises through the night, which were pretty nice. So we're going to talk about those. But Kate, why don't we just take a quick second? You can whet your whistle.
Okay.
I could take a pee as I did last week.
Okay.
A pay. And we can also let the people know about some of the other shows that are part of the wonderful, reworked Shining Wizards Network 2.0, because we all know what happened. They just stole our ideas, what we wanted to do when we were going to buy from them.
Of course.
So take a listen, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
I'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in every Monday night to listen to The Shining Wizards. If you'd like to continue to support us outside of listening, we've got a few ways for you to do that. If you shop at Amazon, go over to amazon.shiningwizards.com, do your shopping as usual, and when you make your purchase, a little bit of that purchase price will go back to support the show. If you like to wear t-shirts, merch.shiningwizards.com will take you to our Pro Wrestling Tees store, where we've got over a dozen great designs from over 11 years of professional wrestling podcasting. You can become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/wizardspodcast, where each and every week we call out your name as one of our show producers, and the more you support us, the more things that you're entitled to receive, and believe me, they are fantastic. If you can't support us monetarily, if you don't shop at Amazon, that's absolutely fine. Continue to listen to us wherever you listen to us on the World Wide Web, and make sure you like, rate, review, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Doesn't cost you anything, helps us out, and we can continue to bring you the love fest that is The Shining Wizards.
What's up, folks? It's your boy, the Impact Player, Mr. Philly Ray, inviting all of you to check out the Turnbuckle Throwbacks Wrestling Podcast. Join us as we cover all things current in the world of pro wrestling, as well as paying homage to the old school, the Squared Circle. So listen in and find out why we are the recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment broadcasting. Find us on all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast from. And as always, we are the proudest members of the Shining Wizards Network and Rant Entertainment Media.
Are you tired of being lied to every day by the mainstream media?
Do you want to know what's really going on in the world?
Do you want to make up your own mind about things and not be told what to think or say?
Then listen to Inconclusive Breakdown, a weekly anti-PC look at the world of entertainment and current events, brought to you without censorship or filters.
You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts, BitChute, and on ShiningWizardsNetwork.com.
And also, we're a proud member of the Shining Wizards Network.
Got 30 minutes to kill?
Come check out 30 Screams or Less, where we review a horror movie in 30 minutes or less. We cover new movies and old ones too.
We'll give our honest thoughts on the movie, good or shit, as well as a rating of each one that we watch.
New episodes weekly, available on the Shining Wizards Network and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Corey.
Come check us out at 30 Screams or Less.
G'day guys, my name is Thomas, one half of the Broadcast Podcast. With our podcast, we go back and watch wrestling events from WWE, WWF, WCW, ECW, AEW, and many other wrestling promotions. You can check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast, that's TheBrokast, and you can also download all episodes on Apple Podcast, Castbox, Castro, and many other podcast apps.
If you like your music heavy, then check out Radioactive Metal on the Shining Wizards Network. For over 16 years now, Radioactive Metal has been one of the longest running podcasts. Over the years, we've interviewed some legendary metal acts, had some awesome discussions, and cranked a hell of a lot of tunes. So join your cool Uncle Snowy and his co-host Aaron for the audio mosh pit that is Radioactive Metal here on the Shining Wizards Network.
Well, the action is underway.
What's up, everyone? When on the Shining Wizards Network, be sure to check out Wrestling Night in Canada. If we're not recording another kick-ass podcast,
Or playing in punk bands.
Or recording kick-ass heavy metal albums,
then we're sitting back, we're grabbing a couple brews, and going over everything to do in the world of pro wrestling.
Because we're from Winnipeg, you idiots.
The Mark Order Podcast is the only show you need if you're looking for dedicated coverage of everything AEW on the Shining Wizards Network. Join us live on YouTube every Wednesday night at 10:15 p.m. Eastern after Dynamite to chat along with the show. If you can't join us live, listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social channels at MarkOrderPod and use the hashtag #JoinTheMarkOrder. Because if you don't find us,
we'll find you.
I'm Kevin Rowe.
I'm Al Day.
and we're a couple of down under pounders that co-host Rogue Day Dots, an action figure collecting podcast where we talk about, well, just about anything that tickles our fancy at any given moment.
We're grumpy old men, and sometimes people get on our nerves, and when you get on our nerves, guess what? You get off the lawn.
Get off my lawn, asshole! We also go on a little bit of a mission. We go back and we're grading every wrestling figure line that's out there. I'm talking LJNs. I'm talking Jacks. I'm talking Hasbros. Who doesn't like a little Hulkaplex? It's a Gorilla Brain Wrestling podcast production found on the Shining Wizards Network.
I'm Duke Bags.
Kevin Rowe.
And together we are the co-hosts of Your Duke and Road. If you want to hear about some terrible wrestling shows, we got you covered.
Well, we talk about good ones, too.
We're currently talking about the death of WCW.
I know what we're fucking talking about. Sometimes we get guest spots, like from the Taskmaster. I like to listen to the Your Duke and Rope podcast. They're funny guys. That I like when they talk about the Nards plows. I like Nards plows. That's a good move. And I like the Dungeon of Doom. You know, sometimes I call my butt the Dungeon of Doom. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Let me tell you a little bit about my favorite wrestling podcast. All right. It's a podcast with two men, Duke Bags, Kevin Rowe. They talk about professional wrestling. It's a man's sport. All right? And who better to talk about a man's sport than two great men? Oklahoma.
And once in a while, Vince Russo stops by.
Oh, you piece of shit! If you're not listening to the Your Duke and Rope podcast in the back with the boys, you piece of shit, I don't know what you're doing. It's, you gotta slide one in there. If you're a man, you're talking about something only a man can do. You're talking about sliding one in there. Bro, take the time to slide one in there. All right, bro, you piece of shit. Slide one in there. A Gorilla Brain Wrestling podcast production that you can find on the Shining Wizards Network.
All right, we're back here on the Mark Order podcast, also part of the Shining Wizards Network. Let's see. Let's take care of some business real quick. Sorry, I was trying to make sure I had my shit in front of me. Follow us on all socials at Mark Order Pod. And on our socials, you'll find our link tree to all of our other social sites and where you can find our podcast and all that kind of stuff. But more importantly, places you can show your support for us. One thing you could do is a free way to show support is request some free stickers. All you got to do is click the button to request stickers. Give us your full name, your full mailing address, the country you live in, and your email, just in case we have questions about your address.
And we just have that one, the logo, right? We just have that one sticker. It's great.
No,
It's wait, what?
No. We've got two versions of the sticker. What? Version 1 and version 2.
Yeah,
we'll
get
send
out
you...
of town and take a bus. Right now, if you call 1-800-MARK-ORDER, which is definitely the right amount of numbers, you can get those with free shipping for just $47.99 here on QVC.
No. Wrong, Kate. On so many levels. Just hit the link tree and it's free. No shipping, no handling, no nothing. We just send them to you for supporting us. So we'll ship worldwide too. So hit us up and please let us know where we can send some stickers. And we love seeing where you guys stick them. Of course, we're not going to endorse you putting them in places you shouldn't. But...
Stick them. Stick them. No. Yes.
Boom. Yeah. Hey, Brocast. How's it going? Thanks for checking us out down under.
That's actually right above him. MRR Knight there. Mr. Knight is my guest commentator. Or not my guest commentator. He's the play-by-play at Excite. I'm the guest.
He says, get out of town and take a bus. He's going to use that.
I really, unfortunately for him and for the viewers, he makes a lot more puns on commentary than he ever used to now that I'm there. So there was a scramble match and I was like, Mike, how do you lick your eggs? And he was like, over easy, actually. But I also like them scrambled. You know, selling son of a bitch. But thanks for hopping in the chat, guys. We appreciate all the support. And yeah, thank you for sitting through the Kevin Road commercial block. I appreciate it.
Here's a question, by the way. Not to divert from taking care of business, but are they aware of the tasks that we give you on a monthly basis to work in a couple different phrases?
They've retweeted them sometimes, so yeah.
Okay, perfect. I mean,
I don't like make a big deal out of it. I'm pretty sure Mike is like, what the fuck is this girl saying on occasion? But
it's just
they're
fun.
up on my Twitter. They see what's going on.
Perfect. And the other thing you could do if you want to show your support for us in a financial way is head on over to pick up a t-shirt. Now, unfortunately, you probably missed the sale that was just happening, the spring fling whatever sale. But you can pick up a shirt at any time by going to our link tree, hitting the button to check out our t-shirts. You can go to prowrestlingtees.com/markorderpod, or you could simply just go to Pro Wrestling Tees, and while you're buying all this other stuff, just search for Mark Order Podcast. Our store will pop right up, and you can pick up one of our t-shirts. We got a couple front prints only, a couple double-sided that are pretty nice. So anything, if you would like to support us financially, definitely pick up a t-shirt. We can't believe people actually want t-shirts, so it's just always mind-blowing that people ask, hey, how can we give you guys a little bit of money? Well, pick up a t-shirt. That definitely helps us, and we put it right back into this fine shoe.
I should probably order one.
Yeah, I think we talked about this once, Kate. We should discuss off the air, maybe in the car. We should put a bulk order together for us and maybe some promo stuff.
We'll do a meeting in the car right down.
Yeah, we can do that. Sorry, David Bauer. There are no more gray shirts at this point in time. If you missed out on the variant, you ain't gonna get it. There were only 3 of those that were ordered.
I know Doc Mueller has one.
Mm-hmm. Asian Joe has one.
I was gonna say Asian Joe, and there was someone else from the Discord that has one, I think.
I don't remember who it is, but yes, somebody else.
Crosso's too far away.
No, but somebody else. There are only 3 in existence. Even the creators of this show don't have a gray shirt.
That's true.
Mainly because
creators
we're
of
like,
the show don't have a shirt.
yeah, no, because we're just, in typical Mark Order fashion, we drag our feet and we're like, we'll order shirts and we'll get a shirt, and we haven't ordered shirts. At least we got the store up, okay?
We did. Better than I can say for the website.
It's William Mercier Jr. Thanks, Dave.
Of course.
He's got one.
I knew that too.
And the other thing, because the broadcast is here too. Obviously,
broadcast.
you guys should be checking out all the fine shows on the Shining Wizards Network. We got to work something out where we're interacting with all these other shows. I think the broadcast definitely said they'd be down to do something. I know our
I
boy.
agree. Most
Milwaukee
of the
Tom
other
said,
shows
too.
we should do that with.
Kate, I would love to go on to all of the shows. And
I think
all
doing
of the shows
so
come
with
here.
most of those shows would be a great idea.
All of them. Give me all of them. All of them. And also the Shining Wizards. I was listening Monday while I was what?
I was gonna do like a gimmick like all but one, but then I actually coughed, so it didn't work. Yeah, I'm so sad. I had my big gulp and I drank it too fast, and so now my whole side hurts.
I'm sorry, Kate. I'm sorry.
But I was trying to keep the coughs at bay, and
it's all
I'm
good.
just gonna float away.
It's all good. I was listening to the Shining Wizards Monday at the gym, actually, and I was listening to Vinny Pacifico was on talking about how he got his bang. He got his bang endorsement. I would love to work on an endorsement for Celsius. I love the Celsius products. If they'd like to endorse us, send me some
Celsius products. And what do you love about Celsius?
Well, I love the fact that there's no sugar. They're gluten-free. They're also kosher, non-GMO. But they also, they give you a little pick-me-up. They have essential energy. They accelerate my metabolism, and they do help burn a little bit of body fat. And what I really love about them, since I'm a guy due to my stomach surgery who really shouldn't drink a lot of carbonated beverages, I really enjoy this this non-sparkling peach mango tea. It's really nice. And on a night like tonight, where I was doing some stuff late yesterday, up early today, work through the day, and now I'm doing a podcast, this Celsius is gonna get me straight through.
Wow, what a great
That's
product.
refreshing. That's refreshing. I'm a professional, goddammit.
You are. This is a professional duo.
Yeah, this is. So yeah, so if you're checking us out, check out the Shining Wizards Network. We love to put the network over because the shows are great and the Shining Wizards are great, and hopefully we can get some corporate synergy going, and we can get some other people on this show and maybe make some other appearances. We'll see what happens.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, Kate, why don't we talk about Dynamite tonight? There were 6 advertised matches and a couple other things that were advertised, like a presence was required for MJF tonight. So they led the show off with a grudge match, essentially. Darby Allin versus Shane Swerve Strickland. And we know that Swerve has recently linked up the Mogul affiliates with Prince Nana and his gang. I can't remember their goddamn name. Not the Kingdom.
The Embassy.
Embassy. See, I know there's all sorts of regal shit in Ring of Honor, and I always get the Kingdom mixed up with the Embassy. So, I mean, we won't talk through the whole match, but Darby Allin does wind up coming out winning by pinfall with the Last Supper. The story through the match was Swerve, his ankle was bothering him, so Darby definitely targeted the ankle. My least favorite thing during this match was when he ripped the shoe off and then bit his foot. And let me tell you why, Kate. It's not a foot thing. Feet don't necessarily gross me out. It is the sheer fact that they were like, maybe they were like, hey, let's do this thing where you bite my foot. And it was like, okay, cool. It's the sheer fact he was wrestling for, I don't know, let's say maybe 10 minutes in his shoe, and then takes the shoe off and bites into his sweaty sock. That grosses me out.
There's so many things wrong with this. Okay.
That grosses me out.
Feet are gross. Men's feet? Gross. Wrestlers' feet? Gross. Wrestlers' feet during wrestling? Barf. Nope.
By the way, because you were part of the discussion in the chat Monday night during the Wizard show about the socks thing, be prepared, because you're going to see me sockless in a hotel room in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, wherever we're staying. I don't subscribe to the sock deal.
You don't even wear your... No, what was a game changer?
What?
Bringing your slippers to the hotel room.
I have one pair of slippers I don't love.
It's so luxurious. Like, I'm in this climate-controlled paradise.
Okay, I mean, it's just air conditioning, sure.
I know, but like, I don't know. Something about being in a hotel room with my slippers on. I'm like, oh, what? I'm gonna order delivery to my room and maybe they'll send it up. Like, I don't know. It just feels great. It was a game changer.
You're gonna see no socks.
Well, you're
on
sleeping
me.
with Matt.
No socks. You're gonna see the fresh petty.
You do at least maintain. I don't. You should have the socks on, but if you're not gonna, you maintain, and I respect and appreciate it.
I'll say this though, I maintain to the point of, I do listen. I've been very open on this show. I do pedicures.
Yeah, we were all gonna go together. Remember?
Yeah, and you guys never go, so I'm just like, I'm going because I need it. Listen, I like taking care of my feet. The worst part of a pedicure is when they scrub the bottom and the sides because I'm really goddamn ticklish and I'm always afraid I'm going to kick that poor lady in the face. But here's the other thing, Kate. I'm quite okay with who I am. I do polish on the nails. I do color.
I love that.
Straight up color with the fucking finish coat on it. I did red with sparkles or glitter for Valentine's
Look at
Day.
you. I love this for you.
I did it right before opening day. So right now, they're dark blue for the Yankees.
I love this.
Who knows what the next time will be? But here's my thing, Kate, is that polish stays on till the next time I go for a pedicure. I ain't removing
Dude,
it.
You don't do your nails, right?
No, I've and not because I'm against it. I just never have gotten a manicure, and I kind of just want to at some point. But
Even just for the hand massage, there's like for someone who's typing and stuff all day, it feels really good. I can't explain to you the difference between how long your toenail polish versus your regular nail polish stays on your hands. Like, there have been times where it's been like 3 days and I'm chipped off completely. Your toenail polish will stay on for weeks.
yeah, it does.
It's bonkers.
I mean, it stayed on from the time I did it, like around Valentine's Day, to the time I did it right around opening day.
I think what I have on still, it's chipping now, but it was staying on forever, was from the cruise, which was the beginning of February. It's crazy. So I'm just
Anyway, I don't mean to divert. By the way, my thirst is quenched with this Celsius, and I'm already feeling the energy boost.
Are you really?
I feel great. Anyway,
Even with no sugar, no GMOs, and being gluten free?
no sugar, no GMOs, gluten free, kosher.
Wow.
And it's only 10 calories per can. I can
Well, it's
afford
appropriate that we're talking kosher because we're talking the end of this match. By the way, nobody's biting your naked feet at our
I don't want that to happen. Like
No.
I said, just feet don't necessarily bother me. Like I know people who I think have like a genuine like phobia
Aversion.
of feet.
Yeah, it's not great.
I don't. They just don't gross me out, and it's not something like feet don't get my juices going. Never have, never will. I'm not a foot guy where I look at feet and I'm like, oh yeah, feet.
No, sexualizing them.
No, I don't
not
understand
kink
that.
shaming, just weird.
Yeah, no, I don't understand it.
If Matt tries to take a chomp, though, we're starting an OnlyFans.
Mhm.
So this match was perfectly fine. I love that Celsius is kosher because we're going to talk a little MJF after this. But
That's right.
well, we could talk about it later. But my Tuesday night co-host was like, "Hey, so the Orange Cassidy match, this was the same match, huh?" Like I was like, "Oh yeah, the Orange Cassidy and Bud Matthews match was real similar to this in the way that they were produced." So the agents got to do a better job of talking to each other because I was like, I didn't really realize it as much in real time, but once he pointed that out, I was like, oh yeah, they were like very similar. So
yeah,
but a good match. The foot spot was weird, but I'm always for something I don't usually see in wrestling, so I'll take it. And I also like Darby Allin not winning with the coffin drop a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. Switching up finishers is good, and I love the coffin drop as a finisher, but I like when wrestlers use multiple moves to finish matches.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since we saw him do the Last Supper. And it sort of fit this too, right? Because it really wrenches on the ankle and the foot. So it's sort of also, to me, it sort of gives a reason why maybe Swerve couldn't really kick out because it was really his ankle. You know what I mean?
A lot of foot stuff in this match, and
a lot of foot stuff. I'm not gonna kick
dicks in the dirt, feet in the streets. That's what I always say.
That's right. There was also some shenanigans throughout. Prince Nana came down to put Swerve's foot on the rope, and Brian Cage came out, and they got thrown out, but still not enough to get the win.
That was the most exciting thing to happen on Rampage or Battle of the Belts was Brian Cage. I don't know how Darby Allin lived to tell the story of tonight's match. He just ate a bump with his face. Fully embraced what Brian Cage did to him. But I really like the Mogul affiliate merging with the Embassy, and not just because Trenchcoat and Parallel Parker are awful, but I think this is a good merge, and also Prince Nana deserves to be on my television all the time forever. So I like the chess move that they made with that, and I think they needed to because Parker and Trench ain't it, not yet at least.
No, not at all. Yeah, I agree. I like that move a lot. And it's good because the other news that I think I'd seen going around today or yesterday was that Brian Cage apparently signed another long-term deal. So he's not going anywhere. Mr. Get Your Shit In is going to stay, which is probably why they kept the belts on him for Ring of Honor for the time being. And so it's good news all around for Swerve and for Brian Cage. And we go on after this match to what we've had in previous weeks, where MJF comes out to cut a promo. So they do go to break, and when we come back, MJF's on the mic, Darby Allin sitting there in the corner. And MJF gives Darby some credit because he said it was an incredible match and impressive since his daddy Sting wasn't out there. But of course it was great because Allen's great. And if anybody knows it, it's him. Because they had one of the greatest matches in the history of wrestling at Full Gear 2021. And even though Darby's a shitty little emo schmuck, pound for pound, he's one of the best people he's ever been in the ring against. But MJF has 2 words for him that prove that he's better than you, and you know it. Those 2 words are headlock takeover. Because he beat him with a maneuver so simple that, and Darby thinks he can take the world title from MJF. Well, he knows Darby's about as bright as everyone in the arena, but he's not on the level as the devil. With that, Allen says, back when they worked the indies together, MJF said that when he'd made it to national TV, everything would change, but he's really just the same guy. He felt the same way, but, when they got to AEW, he started therapy. Darby Allin, that is, started therapy because he didn't want to be happy on the outside while he was dying on the inside. And he learned it didn't matter about his successes, long as his family are living beautiful lives. And he said he used his AEW money to buy his parents a house and help his dad retire. He also said Sting isn't his dad. He's just his best friend in the whole entire company. And all this is a 15-minute ride, and he refuses to get off the ride wondering who all these random people in his personal life are. He's not like Max. He won't lower his morals to somebody in this world. So if he's got something to say, keep talking. That's when MJF tells Darby that he's not special. He's sick of hearing him whine about morals because morals kill careers in that sport. That's just a fact. He stands there like he's some kind of daredevil, but Max thinks he's a gutless coward who doesn't have the balls to make sacrifices that must be made. And Darby thinks that Max is an idiot. So, Darby says he'll do whatever it takes, but Allen won't. And he tells, MJF tells Darby to listen. He's willing to do whatever it takes to leave a legacy in the sport. And when he's done, he'll be the greatest of all time. And Darby's legacy will just be that he Sting's bitch. Well, Kate, guess what? That didn't go over well because who came out?
It's Sting!
That's right. The snow starts falling and Sting is here. And he gets in the ring, howls a couple times, and he wants to know where all this daddy daycare talk came from. And it offends him because he's not a daycare kind of guy. He's more like a cheerleader. And he pulls out a pom-pom and he flicks it at MJF a few times. He pulls another one out, says he's got a fever. The only cure is more pom-poms. And he keeps pulling these pom-poms out of his jacket and throwing them at MJF. And he promises to stop if MJF stops talking about this Cody daycare stuff. That's right. He invoked the name that shall not be named. He said, I said Cody, and the truth hurts, because Max had a support system in Cody, and Darby has Sting, and a younger Stinger had a support system in the form of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. He thanks Nature Boy for putting him on the map, and he talks about his evolution from Surfer to the Crow to the Wolf Pack. He also thanks a bunch of those guys, and even to Joker Sting, which I loved, Kate, because a lot of people don't remember Joker Sting, and I remember goddamn Joker Sting. He says what he doesn't have is a thirst for the world title. And he'll be real with everybody. Showtime is almost over for him, but it's just starting for Darby. And Darby says he's coming for the title, and that's when Max spits in his face, and he's just classic Max, being a shit heel and leaving the ring. So, Kate, a couple nice things here that I appreciated that we don't often get from the other guys. They are not afraid to talk about guys in other companies, to talk about guys' history in other companies, obviously mentioning the Wolf Pack, mentioning,
Raven
Cody.
Wolf Pack.
Right. The Raven Wolf Pack. Obviously Cody, which could be a sore spot, in some places, but they know it's life, man. They also mentioned Ric Flair, who's not part of this company. They let it happen, and it did pop the crowd. The crowd was like, holy shit. But I thought this promo was good because the first time we saw Darby in this sort of 4-way promo deal, he didn't really come out as strong as I think we had all wanted him to come out. And he looked a little stronger here. And I think having Sting come out in the middle sort of helped not put as much pressure on him. So I like the way this worked out. I'm just still I'm still in the mindset of let's please get somewhere with this. Like, give us an idea of where we're going. Is it going to be a 4-way? Are we going to burn that down at Double or Nothing? Are we going to not do that and do a bunch of single stuff? I just sort of want to see where this is going. I like what they're doing, showing the other guys watching the matches, all being invested in who's sort of in what position. But I'm at the point where I want an idea of what's next. Goldberg style. Who's next?
Sure. I think that's fair. I'm pretty sure it's a 4-pack because just the way
It's gotta be.
Yeah, the way it's laid out, you can't go through all 3 of them and then not do a 4-pack. So, I thought this was really, really good. I liked what Darby had to say in the last one, but I think they're just being like a little bit more of a sincere focus on just Darby was really good here and kind of allowed him to, he's such like a mysterious little weirdo all the time. So when you get these more sincere pieces of him is really refreshing. And I really liked, I did sincerely laugh to myself when he started talking about, it wasn't about the glory for me. It's about taking care of my loved ones. I was able to retire my dad early and pay my parents' house or whatever. And in my head, I was like, in his head, he sincerely is like, the best way to take care of my loved ones is to heave my body like an inanimate object at other inanimate objects and human beings. It was just such a funny realization. Sting is as someone who wasn't ever watching his real run in real time, it is so cool to have a character who is as natural of a talker as he is with the kind of Crow gimmick or Joker gimmick or whatever. He has this kind of more out of the box. I don't want to say otherworldly because it doesn't sound like he's not on planet Earth, but to have an aura about him, this air about him that feels a little more character and gimmick driven, and to have just you just so immediately connect with the guy. It's so understandable why he's considered such a legend. I loved what he had to say here at the pop-up things. Was a little weird. I appreciate a good more cowbell reference anytime I can get it. But really, really just such an easy promo to listen to from Sting. And I liked what Max had to say. I feel with Jungle Boy and with Darby, he's really gone out of his way to put them over before he smacked them back down. With Sammy, that one was just a little rough, and it does make me a little nervous for him because it does feel like he's just a little bit left behind in all this, which isn't great.
Right. I mean, and the only thing I guess you could do with Sammy, and I don't want to see this happen because it would feel like they're going to the well where it just worked for Sting and Darby. My guess is you could have Jericho sort of step in like Sting did. I don't want to see that because I think we're all on the same level of we want this JAS to sort of just die a natural death at this point. And
he kind of just did that with Garcia tonight. We'll talk about that later, but
yeah, we will. But I mean, yeah, I'm with you. The Sammy being left behind in this thing is definitely a fear because the worst part is that Sammy can do it in the ring. The promo didn't work, but also they might have also set Sammy up for failure because they did it in Long Island. What do you expect? He's gonna get booed. So maybe that would have been a spot to maybe forego that last week, but who knows? We'll have to see.
I think he should stay heel, so I don't have a problem with him getting booed. it just felt like that promo just didn't bring anything to the story. Like he called Darby the Turtles kid, and I'm like, you're stealing Ricky Stark's time from like a year and a half
Well,
ago.
true.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it
Yep.
just, I don't have a problem with him being heel. I actually think it was smart to do that in Long Island because he's by default going to get booed, but just never really fully clicked in. And I hope they figure out what to do with him sooner rather than later, because it feels like he's a little lost in the shuffle on this.
Yeah, for sure. And also, let's not forget too, because Asian Joe just put it in the chat. He said, "I thought commentary told us more about Darby getting hit by a car on tonight's show than they did last week." Yeah, let's not forget, folks. Darby got hit by a fucking car last week, and he's, he wrestled last week and he wrestled again this week, and he's just doing all this crazy shit. So
Who gets hit by a car like on a daily basis? It feels like, but like what the impact that he puts his body through. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah, it's wild. All right, Kate. So the next thing we go into is our AEW TNT Championship Open Challenge, and the last real man, Silas Young, answers the call. And unfortunately for Silas, this is over pretty much before it gets started. And what I find impressive about that, at least, Kate, is Silas is not a small dude, and Hobbs threw him around like a goddamn ragdoll. So Hobbs does win by pinfall to retain the championship, but the real story comes afterwards. Hobbs and QT Marshall drag Silas off, and looks like they're getting him up onto the ramp to powerbomb him through a few tables, but they cut to the parking lot. Now, maybe should have mentioned that prior to the match, as Hobbs is coming out, they show Hobbs pull up in his brand new car that QT Marshall gifted him. And he makes sure that the parking lot attendant at the wrestling lot, that's important here, it's the wrestling lot, he tells him basically how important his car is and that he shouldn't let anything happen to it. Well, as he's about to put Silas up and through some tables, they cut to the lot. And we see Wardlow walking up to the car, tells the guy to beat it, and then he starts, beating it with a pipe. He smashes the front lights, the rear windshield. He scratches it up, and then he takes one of the little stands with the velvet rope and throws it through the windshield. That's not enough. He finds the forklift, puts it through the windows on the passenger side, and then he flips the car over. So Hobbs is pretty pissed off. He goes to get Silas up again, but now Wardlow's music hits, and Hobbs pivots attention as he waits for Mr. Mayhem to come out, and they begin to brawl. So the locker room of local talent is opened up to try to, get them apart. We see Pat Buck and BJ Whitmer come down to do a pull apart. But unfortunately, Aaron Solo is on Wardlow's back, and he gets sort of left behind. And Aaron Solo gets powerbombed through some tables off the ramp. Now, Kate, here's my question. When are they going to learn you only need one table off the ramp set up in the right position? Because Aaron Solo's, the rear of his head really fucking smashed the like the side of that second table. I was really fucking scared.
The same shit that happened with Anna Jay during the death match, basically, right? Like it was
well, with Anna Jay, it was that she sort of was powerbombed too far off the edge of the table. You know what I mean?
That's right. So, it was Willow had like no ability to see where the table was and just missed, right?
Right.
Okay.
So it was like, it's almost like that happened, so they sort of overcorrected this situation by having two tables, and then this happened and he went through the front table but not so much the second table. So it's like that's what the only thing I think they need to learn is just have one table in the right spot with somebody who knows where to put it, and that's all you need. Like, you don't need a second table, or just don't fucking do this anymore.
Yeah, I'm more in that camp of it's just not, the payoff isn't worth the risk. Because that's happened in a few other times too, where there was a time Luchasaurus missed, I think, surprise, like that dude's enormous.
Yeah.
And there was a time, I can't remember. There's been a couple misses though that were scary. I say just don't do it because it looks cool, yeah. Or if you're gonna do it, like it's that double-edged sword of like, oh, but then the refs set it up and put it in place. Like you're gonna get criticism from one end or the other. I don't know if like the car crushing angle is for me.
I mean, the only thing it accomplished, right, is the fact that we knew how much Hobbs loved the car, right? So
Sure.
now the car gets smashed. So it's like goading him into this championship match, right? Like it's just a means to an end. Here was my favorite part about that though, Kate. Because again, I don't necessarily need a car to get smashed. What I loved about it is, I'm not sure if you noticed, there was traffic going on in that street. Like there were cars passing by. Mrs. Money made a great point. She goes, could you imagine if you're just riding by and you don't know what's going on? You just see somebody smashing the fuck and flipping a car? Like,
I actually
that's
had
gotta
the
look wild.
exact same thought because usually those are like overly staged. It was like refreshing to see this idea in its natural environment. But I was like, can you imagine if you're just driving by and it's just
Right. You just see somebody
smooching this
smashing a
car?
car. Yeah. You call the
Um,
cops on your phone because you're like, I think somebody's going nuts.
I would have preferred if they made this a street fight and the brawl was like like they did with Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz, right? Like if you did something where the car got destroyed in that process rather than, hey man, these cameras happen to be here while I'm smashing your car.
Right.
Like
right.
it's so that's not for me. But
Or at least, Kate, make it like somewhat logical. Like Wardlow's, like, make it like, you know, they found the cameras and you're like saying to them like, hey, come with me, and like lead them out to the lot. Not just the cameras happen to be here and catch them, you know, like live. Like at least
that's something Moxley's really good at. He'll have promos
Right.
in weird spots, but it's always like a hey you come here kind of thing.
Right.
Little things like that make a difference to me, but this is smart to run back the feud. Wardlow deserves to be in a title picture or sniffing around something important. So I'm glad that that's where he's going to be. I was a little nervous that we're going to run it back with Samoa Joe on ROH, which I don't think would have been the call. So
right.
Glad that they are doing this here. I was looking for the match time of that match with Silas Young. I could not find it, but I think it was like 11 seconds.
It was fast.
It was real fast. Even for a squash, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. But hey, Silas gets a little bit of a payday. Also, my second favorite thing about the car smashing was that he forgot to put the brakes on the forklift. And I was like, oh, they're lucky the goddamn car was there to stop it from moving, because that could have been
still
bad.
rolling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Funny.
And I felt like I'd have to go back and watch that segment, but I felt like in that moment you could sort of see somebody from behind the camera like almost step out to like try to stop that goddamn forklift. And they were like, okay, hit the car, like just stop. Like stop, we'll cut away and then we'll take care of it. But so Kate, we get a video package from the Switchblade, Jay White and Juice Robinson talking about what they did last week.
The what?
The Switchblade? Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I forgot that's a new thing.
We'll run it back. Ready?
Hold on. Rewind it.
Yeah.
Kate, we get a video segment from the Switchblade, Jay White and Juice Robinson. And they're talking about what happened with Ricky Starks, and they talk about being Bullet Club high rollers and that they're just getting started. They call themselves Bullet Club Gold.
I hate it.
I don't love it either, but what I'll say is this, very interesting, because obviously with the story of Jay White, having to leave New Japan, I thought he was like out, right? Like out of the club. And he's not considering himself out of the club.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about the Switchblade, Jay White. So it's just interesting.
Never get old for me, so you're gonna have to use that.
That's fine. I'll make sure it's earled up and ready to go. So it's just what's interesting to me is the fact that like he doesn't consider himself out. He's still saying he's part of the Bullet Club. So I feel like this could also play into Forbidden Door, right? Because the actual club can be like, what the fuck are you saying you're part of the Bullet Club? You are out.
Yeah, it almost has to, and especially because in New Japan World, Eddie sent him packing too.
Right.
So it was like Eddie who quit AEW and Jay White who can't be in New Japan anymore. Like there's all these little things in play. I really think Jay White, based on what I read, like as of it sounded like January, February was intent on going to WWE, and then the way that unfolded, like I wonder if he would have made the same plans if that had happened. But I think this absolutely has to be leading to something at Forbidden Door. No way it can't. And Bullet Club Gold is, what are you on? Charge card?
I would have actually rather of them just stuck with we're like Bullet Club high rollers. You know what I mean? Like
But that doesn't even feel like it fits the gimmick. Like,
it doesn't. But like, what else? What else are they supposed to be? You know
Bullet
what I mean?
Club Platinum. Use it today.
Don't leave home without it.
Don't leave home without it. Triple points when you book travel, hotel, or auto.
G'day, I'm the Switchblade. Oh god damn it! G'day, I'm the Switchblade. Good. Jay White.
We have fun.
Also, Kate, a revelation tonight on the couch during this segment. As you know, I often like to play the game as I'm watching television with Mrs. Money, who's watching with me, sometimes, checking out things on her phone, but, watching the show. I usually like to play the would you go on a date with game. But I don't ever remember asking about Jay White. But I asked tonight about Jay White. And I said, would you go out on a date with, Jay White? I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to use it again.
No, don't invoke it.
No. So I said, would you go on a date with Jay White? And her answer, this is an exact quote, was, fuck yeah. Which I was a little surprised at because of one thing and one thing only. She has a stable of some guys who she's like, hot body, ugly face. And I thought Jay White was part of that club because like Pac is part of that club with her. Hot body, ugly face. There's another person I can't think of right now. I thought Jay White for sure fell into that group. Did not. She said the only thing he needs to work on is the goatee. But other than that, she is all in on Jay White. A revelation. I would think maybe, and I didn't get this far, maybe part of the A team.
Really? Wow.
Maybe.
I would call that an upset. That surprises me as well.
That would be a huge upset. So there you go. That's just I had no idea. I thought I had asked her before.
Jay White is on the way up.
On the way up, big time. And I swear to God, that was the exact quote. Fuck yeah.
Wow.
Just like that. So we'll see what happens with Jay White, but clearly him and Rock Hard Juice Robinson have Bullet Club Gold going on.
So bad. Such a bad name.
Buddy Matthews versus Orange Cassidy for the International Championship is next. The story here is the fact that Buddy Matthews used the belt to block an orange punch, so Orange Cassidy's hand is not feeling great. He also used the orange punch in his defense on Friday night during Battle of the Belts. And after that match, we saw the hand was still bothering him. So that was really part of this whole story. I did love the part of the match where he hit the punch and then went to the corner and they were checking out. They pulled the tape, the wrap off his hand. And then, of course, Buddy Matthews comes over and stomps on his hand. I love that type of stuff. But back and forth match. And Orange Cassidy does win by pinfall with the seatbelt pin to retain his international championship. And Buddy Matthews is basically, saying like, I was this close. I had you. So To be honest, Kate, we were talking about this one Friday night as Ryan and I were watching the live show. I don't think either of us were expecting Buddy Matthews to win this belt, but it wouldn't have been like a bad decision if he did. Like, Buddy Matthews could be a guy to hold that title. The whole thing would be that he would be a, trios champ and an international champ. And they just don't need one guy to hold two belts at this time. But Buddy Matthews definitely is of the mold to hold this belt and could do things abroad to take the belt and wrestle in other promotions. Orange Cassidy doesn't really do that type of stuff as much as some other guys. So, but I thought this match was fantastic. I think people forget how good sometimes Buddy Matthews is. And Orange Cassidy just continues to put on great match after great match. I loved it.
Super productive title reign for him. Every time he has a defense, I feel like I say that. Buddy Matthews is kind of having a moment, I feel like, right now that Kyle O'Reilly had before he got injured, where he went on a string of like 3 or 4 matches where you were like, holy shit. Like, I knew this guy was good, but he is really showcasing right now. I feel like Bud Matthews, the past couple matches, it was in there. He's just finally getting the stage to show it on. If they didn't have Trios Gold, I think I would have bit even more. Like, I would have thought it was even more of a possibility because he would be perfect for that type of title, I think, to your point. Love the story that they were telling with Orange Cassidy's hand. Nice to see stories like that pop up in matches. Like, it's so easy to take the cop out of like, hey, they're great wrestlers, that you abandon a story. And they didn't here. Like, this was really good. Orange Cassidy did a great job selling it too, the whole match. And it's such a believable one because like a fucked up hand affects everything you can really do.
Yeah, of course.
Other than putting your hands in your pockets, I guess. But I loved this. I thought it was so strong, and I'm assuming this means we're probably going to get Orange Cassidy versus, I'm hoping, like Malachi Black and Brody. I think that would be fun. I am waiting for like a full feud for our Trios championships, though. Like, I want to see that. Maybe we're getting Best Friends versus House of Black, because that could be a really fun defense.
Yeah, they just did it, but I think they could definitely continue to build that.
Build it out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think again, we're sort of like in the mode now where we've got to get to all or Double or Nothing, right? And then we've got to get to, like, shortly after that, we've got to get to Forbidden Door. So I think we're sort of on the way to figuring out where our sort of next things are coming. So I'm not too concerned with the trios, and I think that people are still super high on the House of Black. Yeah. And especially because they've been showcasing them lately in singles matches too, or like just straight up tag matches like that. I don't think they have anything to worry about. I think you could put them in a feud with anybody, but they do have to give them something. Like, it can't just be like a random challenge after random challenge. So I'm with you there, but those guys are fucking great. All right. So we move on. Excuse me, to another weird S&M skit in a basement with Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, where clearly Luchasaurus is morphing into some sort of Stegosaurus with spike gear. But Zaddy Christian says something's done changed. That's all we get out of Zaddy. So I don't know where they're going with this. I don't know what's changed. Except the fact that he's wearing red now and not green.
I was going to say, he's like, I'm not going to get sued this time. That's what's changed.
Right. Yes. The trademark.
I just do not care about Luchasaurus in the slightest. I get it because he's for the kids.
Sure.
But I don't care.
I just don't know where you're going with this. Like, the whole thing with Jungle Boy was resolved, right? So now who do they have a problem with?
Pangea.
The Ice
Meteors,
Age?
probably. The Ice Age for sure.
Ooh, Glacier.
Perfect.
WCW legend Glacier.
There it is.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Mrs. Money's still high on Zaddy. So right. Let's see.
He's glowing up in this like post-divorce era of his life. He looks great.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Backstage, Renee Paquette is interviewing the best friends. Trent says Orange's hand is just fine, and he's defending the title every week on this run of his, and he's making all the boys jealous. But Chuck Taylor makes mention that Aussie Open just won some IWGP tag titles, so he suggests they come fight the best friends on Rampage. We do get that official, so there will be an Aussie Open versus best friends title fight on Rampage, which should be fucking fun.
Yeah, it should.
We go to Ethan Page in the ring, and he says Ethan Page and the Firm have had a bit of a rough stretch, and Matt Hardy cracked him over the head with the FTW championship. Hook beat the living crap out of Stoke, and he's still injured, and there's a whole contract situation to be addressed. So he's a mess. He hasn't been able to get a tan or a haircut, and he still looks 10 times better than all the disgusting Milwaukee hillbillies. I'm sorry, Kate. It's actually pronounced Milwaukee. That's Algonquin for the good land. So he needs some answers. He wants Matt Hardy to tell him why he cracked him over the head with the title and what he put in the contract. And he knows he still works for him, so he needs to come down there right now. So that's when Isaiah Cassidy and Matt Hardy enter the picture. And Hardy says that, you've worked in the business long enough, so you've got to read the fine print in the contract. And he did manipulate him to think he was his best friend because he's the biggest hole of the ass that he's ever met in his life. And that's why I worked him into signing the contract. And that contract said that if Hook beat Ethan Page, Matt Hardy and Private Party are no longer part of the firm, because it gives him the right to pick his next match. And the stipulation is if they beat the firm, they're out. And Ethan Page said there's more to the firm than just he and Stoke. And Big Bill and Lee Moriarty are able to make the attack on Isaiah Cassidy and Hardy from behind. Well, Hook enters the picture, which is a little bit of a surprise, but maybe not really, because he's been using the twist of fate, right? So we clearly see he's a Hardy ally. But Hook is easily taken out as well because of the numbers game. So Big Bill starts to look for the T-bone, but all ego... Hook looks to get the suplex on Big Bill, but Ethan Page is able to get the block. They beat him down. Well, Kate, who could possibly make the save in this situation? Didn't it?
Rebby Hardy.
No. It is Jeff Hardy. Back to make the save. He's got his chair in hand. And he's able to beat everybody off. He throws the chair at Moriarty, hits the twist of fate, and Swanton bomb. And it was a good scene. The crowd really popped hard for this. And what I thought was great, Kate, is the fact that I swear, like 2 days ago, I saw something from Matt Hardy saying Jeff is probably still like 6 weeks away because he had recently had some surgery. Or whatever. Listen, Carney's worker's gonna work, right? But nobody really knew where we stood with Jeff, so it was a surprise. And the crowd really fucking reacted. They were on their goddamn feet. So, I thought this was a nice spot for it, a nice little surprise that, I was sort of wondering, to be honest, Kate, like who could make this save? Because Jeff wasn't even a thought.
Oh yeah, now I'm at the point where I just assume that a wrestler's coming back if someone says they like have too long to wait or whatever. But I'm glad, you just hope that he's happy and healthy is the bigger takeaway from that. He looked good. I always feel like it's not my call to make whether or not someone belongs back in wrestling in a way, but hope the best for him. My bigger concern is honestly like he didn't look, I love Jeff Hardy. He didn't look great for the past 2 years before the DUI situation. So I just hope that they don't try to outkick their coverage on what they're still actually able to do in that regard. Like I hope that if they're gonna give them a run, my guess is based on what we learned about CM Punk maybe coming back and the routing that is set up, very possible we get like a CMFTR angle to turn FTR heel would be my guess, because Punk ain't coming back face. So I think a transitional reign to the Hardys would be fun. Let them have 1-2 month really short reign and pass it off to someone more productive probably, but yeah, I'm glad that he's back. I hope that he's okay. That's kind of my net of it. I'm not like the most excited about seeing it in the ring because they just like Matt Hardy is just like a walking brick at this point. Like he can't really like, yeah, I mean, and Jeff isn't in the best shape. So I just hope that they don't try and push their limits beyond what they can do. I feel like I see that a lot with legends where they're like, they have to go back to and do the best hits because that's what they're known for. And it's like, don't do that when your best hits are jumping off ladders because that could get bad.
Right. Yeah, I think obviously before the DUI and all that stuff, I think we were all sort of thinking the same thing. Like, this is one last hurrah for the Hardys. So maybe that's where they pick this back up, right? Now, obviously, there's a bigger picture going on now with FTR just taking the titles back and all that kind of stuff. But I still think you give them sort of one last hurrah. Like you said, I'd be okay with them somehow getting the titles, having them for a couple months on sort of like a farewell tour, and then they probably ride off into the sunset. Or like you said, you hope they do. Because you don't want to see them. You don't want to see anybody outlast, or out, kind of stay your welcome.
For sure.
So, anyway, a nice little surprise there. We get a recap of Bryan Danielson trying to gouge Hangman Adam Page's eye out with a screwdriver, and we also get a video. I
love Gil Danielson. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like, that's just the best.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he's like the most beloved wrestler in the world, puts on this incredible match with MJF, 6 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like, I'm gouging people's eyes out with screwdrivers.
Yeah, because I love my family. I'm going to gouge your eye out.
I needed to go back home. I needed to recalibrate. And I realized while I was at home that I needed to gouge your eyes out.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
I love it.
So we do get a video from Kenny Omega. And they also, in that recap, by the way, I'm sorry, I should mention this. In that recap, the gaping head wound they showed on Don Callis. Now, I had read about how bad it was, and they said it was a complete accident. Like, Don Callis didn't know that the TV stand was there sort of next to him, and he fell into it and gashed his head open. And I had read that they sort of like, their live, like, sort of stapled it and then got him to a medical facility, as other places would say. And they had to stitch him up. But my God, Kate, when they showed it, I was like, oh God, like that is...
It was bad. It was like one of those things you're like, that's just not a wrestling injury. That was clearly the consequence of something else, right? And it was like...
Yeah. I mean,
everybody said... something else.
Yeah, everybody said it was a complete accident. It was not meant to happen. He just didn't know anything was behind him, so when he turned to fall, he just fucking gashed his head open.
And I thought it was fake because there was so much blood and it was so bright. I was like, there's no way that's from wrestling. And then it was like, no, it was real, but it was because he went flying into...
Yeah. My favorite part of showing the head wound was how they opened it. They didn't just show you the slice. They like stretched it open. Anyway, Kenny sends a video, and he thanks fans and doctors for being quick with what happened, and says that he talks to the Bucks every day. They promised they'd take care of this Blackpool Combat Club thing in the ring, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. He gets it. You want to make an impact. But when they left Don Callis in a pool of his own blood, his skull split open and concussed, that was just too much. He gets it. He's not the most likable guy, but he's still like family. And when you mess with someone's family, you get what you deserve. And it's not going to be blood for blood because That's really kind of what the Blackpool Combat Club probably wants, but it's going to be much, much worse. And so we get the Blackpool Combat Club to make their entrance into the ring because they've got Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa out for a little retribution. Well, things didn't necessarily work out so well for Cutler and Nakazawa because they get jumped on their way down. Nakazawa is split open early. Cutler gets split open and he's just got blood behind his mask. And this match does get started, but it doesn't last that long, even though Knock and Cutler get a little offense in. It's just not enough for the Blackpool Combat Club. And eventually Rick Knox stops this match because they are just getting beaten to a pulp. And Moxley then decides to get on the mic and asks, where are the Bucks? How about Hangman and Don Callis? Well, before answering that, they're all at the hospital, babies with glass jaws, and that's because the BCC puts the Elite in All Elite Wrestling. Surprise, Kate, Kenny Omega's actually in the building because his music hits and he comes out. He's basically calling for Moxley to make his way up the ramp so they can go one-on-one. But then we find out that the Young Bucks are also in the building. They make the attack from behind. It's a super kick party in the ring. They're able to sort of neutralize the Blackpool Combat Club. Kenny gets a toolbox in the ring, and he looks like he's got Moxley in the corner, and he's going to toss it right at him. But he gets stopped, and Matt hands Kenny a flathead screwdriver, and Kenny's lining it up. And he goes for the stab, essentially, like an ice pick, but Moxley gets out of the way or gets pulled out of the way. And clearly there is an issue going on here with the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. Now, Kate, I thought maybe they were going to throw out blood and guts here.
That was my thought too. I think there's a lot of really fun ways you could go with it. But we will see. There's so much programming coming up that it's like you got the pay-per-view, you got Blood and Guts, you got Forbidden Door, you've got All In and All Out, right? You have all these things on the horizon. Battle of the Belts, the most important pay-per-view that they have.
Obviously, it has belts in the title.
Yeah, and battles for them.
True.
So, but yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I also thought with the more recent Punk Wants to Come Back stories, if you were going to do a Blood and Guts and have him come back there on the Blackpool Combat Club side, that would be kind of interesting, but I don't think you could do it creatively because the last time we saw him was the stuff with Mox, right? So,
right.
But I am intrigued to see where this goes. I think you could see Takeshita wind up at the Blackpool Combat Club side of things for Blood and Guts. A lot of different directions you could take it. Also,
well, Takeshita could also go to the Elite, right?
Yeah, he could go either way.
Yeah,
because of the recruitment there. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where this ends up, and I do think I love that it was a super kick party, and I was like, well, yeah, because look at that shoulder. My God, still very, very much bandaged up. So. But
I know.
Hope they're okay. Hope they're all right.
Well, Kate, let me lay this on you, right? Because Blood and Guts is traditionally 5-on-5, right?
Right.
Okay. So clearly, Hangman Adam Page, this would be a reunion for the Elite, right? Yes, maybe Takeshita goes that way. Takeshita could go the other way. Let's say Takeshita maybe doesn't go either way. Maybe he's not part of this. Blackpool Combat Club is 4. They'd have to find their 5. Maybe that's Takeshita. Who knows? For the Elite, is there any conceivable way that we see a Golden Lovers reunion in an AEW ring for a Blood and Guts?
Yeah, I think there absolutely is. Because Ibushi just returned to wrestling, so I think it's very, 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 very possible.
I thought for a half a second, because again, I didn't think the Bucks, I'm sorry. I didn't think the Bucks were like close to being back because they were saying they were kind of banged up, right? So they might be out a
I thought
little bit
Matt
longer.
was supposed to be like out too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to just assume they weren't going to show up tonight. There was a split second where Kenny stopped on the ramp where I was just like, oh fuck. Is this going to be Ibushi? Because he had just said this whole thing about family, and I was like, oh, this is sort of perfect. Like this could be it, and it wasn't, which is fine. But like, he could be your 5.
Very much so. Very, very much so.
It's so
Could be
exciting.
real fun.
So exciting because again, it's when you look at all the stuff that was out there about WWE's interest in some of these guys. Obviously, they miss big on Jay White. But Ibushi was pretty clear that he doesn't want to not be able to do some of the things that he wants to do. And I don't think they'd make any of the concessions that he wants in a contract with them. So I was just like, oh, maybe this is Ibushi. And Mrs. Money told me, like, didn't I get enough? Like, you got a couple returns. She goes, you got a couple returns. You got Jay White. Why do you need that? I'm like, because I do.
I mean, because why not is the question.
Right. Anyway, the embassy gets interviewed backstage. Actually, the Mogul embassy gets interviewed backstage. Prince Nana says they're not angry. They're happy because Darby Allin's success is a testimony to what Swerve taught him. And Swerve says he's still got some scores to settle. They're gonna leave with something tonight. And he basically says, let's go. So who knows what's gonna happen? We'll
Hurry
see.
fuck up with this Keith Lee thing.
What are you talking about? We don't know what he wants. He's going to get a pound of flesh. We don't know where he's talking about yet. We go on to our next match, which is Sky Blue and Riho versus the Outcasts, which is Ruby Soho and Tony Storm tonight. We talked about it Friday because that news broke that Sky Blue is officially All Elite. So this is, I think her first match officially signed.
Right. She's getting the pin. Newly signed, being pushed but losing all the time. She's getting the pin.
Yeah, you gotta. She's still been eating pins. It doesn't matter. And of course, the Outcasts win by pinfall. Storm Zero from Tony Storm on Sky Blue. Tony Storm in what I could only call her fucking BDSM gear tonight.
Yeah, I just referred to it as her dear Lord gear because
I gotta. So let's play the rest of this out, and then I gotta lay something on you that Mrs. Money mentioned about the gear. Post match, the Outcasts do spray the green L on Riho. They hit a triple power bomb on her. So not only are they taking essentially the Outsider's name, they're also taking the Shield's finisher. And then Jamie Hayter tries to make the save. She gets overwhelmed by the numbers, but Britt Baker comes down to make the save. Almost kills her. Oh, I'm sorry. DMD makes the save. It's been so long since we've actually talked about Britt Baker, DMD, that I forgot. She almost fucking kills herself, slipping at the bottom of the ramp. And apparently, from what I had been seeing, is she was banged up, and she said, like, I don't know, she thought she was getting better, but it was getting worse, or she was feeling more pain in different places. So I guess she's okay, because she was in a little bit of action tonight, because she fights everybody off and basically gets into a little brawl with Saraya, saves Jamie Hayter. But here's another question. I have another gear question to this too, Kate. So one, let me put it, so obviously you could give your thoughts on the match and the aftermatch, but two things about the gear I want to ask of you. The BDSM gear on Tony Storm.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mrs. Money said it, and I tend to agree. She said it really sort of makes her, at first she said it makes her look a little fat, but I said it made her look super hippie. Like, I don't know why her old gear didn't seem to like make her sort of like bow out or accentuate her hips. It gave her a weird look to me tonight. Some of the camera angles did make her look a more bottom heavy than she normally looks. Didn't do the same thing for Ruby Soho. So that was the only thing. I don't think it looked bad. I'm just saying I was surprised. It looked like it sort of accentuated her hip area, maybe for that hip attack.
I pulled up her gear, or a picture of her now. I can kind of see what you're saying. This gear, I know Alley Cat wears this gear a lot too. Sometimes it is like a little tough. It's not the most flattering, but
I'm not saying it wasn't flattering.
no,
She's
but
fine.
it is like it looks like a different silhouette almost. And she had the Mickey Mouse ears going. But you're right. Yeah, it almost like changes.
Yep.
I think it's also because you have like it like is up and then it cuts the ass cheeks and then like you have a drop off and then when you have boots on, it's a very like weird proportion that you don't normally get. I think that's part of it.
Listen, gear looked fine to me.
Yeah,
but
nobody
seem to
online
change
was
her proportion.
complaining.
Here's the other gear question I have for you. Is it a telling thing, or is it just nobody thought about the fact that Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, had black and green on?
I also thought about that, and then I was like, are they supposed to be Hardy tribute pants? Because they were also like the style of them. But that's like a huge pet peeve of mine. You know that. That drives
I
me
do know
nuts.
that. But I just don't understand. If it wasn't something if it's not like a breadcrumb trail, like leading to something, somebody should have been in the back like, wait a minute, this is their color scheme. You can't wear this. Like,
and
change...
is like prominently, you know what I mean? Like the green is like a thing. So I agree with you. That drives me nuts. I'm dying for one of those spray paint cans to either be just out or to malfunction so bad. Like they go to spray an L and just nothing comes out, or it's like so much comes out that they can't make an L out of it.
Right.
Oh, I sincerely think that would be hilarious.
I just don't know why. Like, it seems like nobody has said to them, here's how you do it. Like, and just slow down. You need one line down, one line across. Also, don't know why they keep sending them out with this neon green paint. Just make it fucking darker.
I think there's something about it just doesn't take like whatever type of spray paint it is. It like doesn't take well to the fabric. It doesn't stick. But
it should just be darker. But so here's the weird thing. Now it's just hitting me. The Outcasts, right? Awfully similar to the Outsiders, part of the NWO. Right. The finisher they just showed tonight, I don't remember seeing it before. The triple power bomb. I mean, that is straight out of the Shield. And the green hue of their spray paint looks an awful lot about like DX.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll take it.
Are we thinking like not are we thinking so, but like is that something that was consciously done? It had to have been conscious.
I'm sure, yeah.
Because if not, I'm like, somebody got to be fucking reviewing all the notes on this because
no, I'm sure they're pretty intentional with stuff like that. I think
it would make sense though. It would make sense because all of these gimmicks they're sort of picking out of are things that aren't homegrown.
Yeah. That's very clever. I like that.
Anyway, any problems with the match or the post?
No problems with it. I do feel like Riho feels a little bit of a fish out of water with this angle, but you know what you're getting with her. You know what you're getting with Sky Blue. I'm just it's getting formulaic week over week. So I'm just like, let's get there because I am. It's getting
I want
old.
there to be a payoff. Just want there to be a payoff.
Me too. I'm guessing we're getting Jamie Hayter and Saraya for the title at Wembley.
Has to be.
Has to be, right? I mean,
has to be.
And should co-main event probably.
Co-main event could be a main event. It depends.
Could be a main. I'm just assuming they're gonna do like Kenny Will Ospreay 2 or so, something fucking crazy. Or I'm not ruling out the possibility that Drew McIntyre's AEW debut is there.
If his contract is up by that point.
Far apart on creative and money, so.
Yeah. And I also love all the people who were like, he'll die on the indies. Did we all forget that he went to the indies?
He rebuilt himself on the indies, yeah.
Yeah. And made a bigger name of himself so they would re-sign him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was reading something and somebody laid it out and I was like, this actually all makes sense. I think they were saying you can do Kenny Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door, right? Because of their ties to New Japan.
Right.
And then you could do it. I think there was another match where you do a second one, right? Or
that would be a third.
That would be a third one, right? The third one, yes.
Already. Yep.
You would definitely do or you make this a trilogy of matches in AEW, right? Like there was, I don't remember how it was laid out, but then there was another one that was like, you can do it here because there's a tie to Kenny at whatever this place was. And then the third one you do in this trilogy, like this AEW trilogy, would be Wembley, which would be home for Ospreay. You know what I mean? And it would be big. I mean, I think for sure, you know, we've talked about this so many times. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but with the announcement of Wembley, I think we're all thinking they're going to pull in a lot of New Japan, you know, or a good amount of New Japan talent because it's so big over there, right? And you can get people to travel internationally.
I'm thinking it's going to be a huge amalgamation because you're not going to run Forbidden Door 3, right?
No.
So
no.
My guess is you're probably going to get a lot of different promotions. I would hope that they would.
Yeah.
Because if you think about what the original All In was, that's what it was. It was a bunch of different promotions. Yep. And Rey Mysterio for some reason. For a name. Because Rey's a legend, but like just random.
So we'll see. But Kate, now we're at our main event. It's Chris Jericho versus Limitless Silver Fox Keith Lee. I still really don't understand what the fuck is happening with this silver look on Keith Lee.
Yeah, it's not great.
I also don't know. Like, I don't know what was up with Keith Lee tonight. He looked like gas to me at points tonight. But at the same time, he was throwing around Jericho, who's also not a tiny guy.
No.
He was throwing around Jericho like a fucking rag doll, at certain points, and like up in the air when he did that move where he caught the code breaker and then was able to get him into the power bomb, like just stuff you're like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy. Even the not the moonsault, or was it a moonsault off the ropes where Jericho tried to block it?
Yes.
But it wound up hurting Jericho. Like, Keith Lee is a fucking freak.
Yeah.
But he just, to me tonight, looked like he just wasn't all the way there. It looked a little rough, but the match played out the way you thought, and obviously heels are going to heel, and we sort of had the swerve, you know, mentioned before, where I'm sure everybody saw it sort of a million miles away, as Aubrey is distracted by Garcia, a masked man who shockingly looks a lot like Swerve Strickland, is able to hit Keith Lee in the face with the ring bell. And that is the end. He is out. Jericho wins by pinfall. Garcia helps Jericho to his feet. And that's when Adam Cole enters. He's able to check on Keith Lee, offers him a fist bump. Oh, I'm sorry. Adam Cole?
Baby.
Thank you. Again, a lot of things we haven't done in a long time. I'm forgetting about all our stuff. Sorry.
It's been a minute. You're good.
I try to be professional, and I just, you know, I hate being off. So Adam Cole does the fist bump. They start to walk up the ramp, and Adam Cole does the little sort of half look back thing to Jericho that Jericho was doing last week. Doesn't really turn all the way around, but he does a little bit of the side eye. And, you know, Jericho and Garcia start sort of walking towards the ropes. They're pissed off that they won't be acknowledged. That's the end. So clearly there's this Adam Cole Jericho thing happening. Don't really have a rhyme or a reason to it yet, but I'm sure we'll get some sort of rhyme or reason. But it looks like that's maybe where we're headed. Adam Cole Jericho. But yeah, and obviously Keith Lee, Shane Strickland. So what'd you think here, Kate? Did you think sort of the same thing as I did here? Like Keith Lee just not all the way there yet?
I love Keith Lee. They like brought him back on Rampage. This was like a feud I was salivating like for the blow off of. And right now I just don't care. Like
Right.
I love Swerve too. I love this like evil dastardly whatever. Him being like, I'm gonna take you out with a cinder block and then a ring bell is like some pretty vicious stuff. And
Mhm.
considering he was given trench coat and parallel Parker and did his best with that, and now has the embassy, which I think is a much better fit. I just feel like Keith Lee's got to step it up a little bit here. Like the look
Yeah.
is a little weird. He didn't look great in the ring tonight. To your point, it did feel like he got very gassed very early. But then also he's a big dude, requires a lot of stamina to wrestle. He was out for a little bit. Like might just need to put, training wheels are on. And it takes a minute to get them off again. But
Sure.
it did not make me like, oh, I'm so excited for the blow off of this match. It made me be like, I hope he can keep up with Swerve because Swerve's insane. So,
Well, we'll see. Listen, I was high on this Jericho Keith Lee thing. I'm just upset we didn't get the Keith Lee we're sort of used to, right? I mean, he's been out of action for a while. People say ring rust, all that kind of stuff. Like I get it, but at the same time, you don't want this to be like a ring rust gas out match between Jericho and Keith Lee. I do think it was intended to be slow paced, but there were even points in a slow paced match where I'm like, yo, Keith, like you don't look 100% like right now. And I'm not saying he's not 100%. I just think he's
the 50-year-old shouldn't be like outpacing you that much. That's not great.
Right.
Yeah. Agreed.
But interested to see what's going to happen now. Obviously the Shane Strickland, Keith Lee thing. And obviously there's this, simmering issue between Adam Cole and Jericho.
It looks so Wild West when they do the like
the little gunslinger slightly over the shoulder.
It's so fun.
So that was Dynamite tonight again. A pretty good night of action. Some surprise returns in Jeff Hardy, as well as the Elite or the Young Bucks are back. And Wardlow returning, from having his passport stolen, as well as his bags. So a pretty good night, and some storylines advancing. So just a few things. We talked about Sky Blue and some of that type of stuff. But Kate, unfortunately, this was news that broke last week. Unfortunately, Eddie Kingston was supposed to wrestle this weekend, but he is unfortunately injured. Excuse me. He suffered an undisclosed injury according to New Japan, and he is unable to compete. I know, sad Eddie. Kate, in a couple days you will have your Eddie figure that you could start to hold up. If you open him, you can even change his head and his hands, I think. So
oh my gosh, do they have a little gasoline can?
I don't think so, but I'm pretty sure there's there are weapons packs that you could get that would have a gasoline can.
Hell yeah.
So we are not going to get Eddie Kingston versus Gabriel Kidd on Sunday in Philadelphia. Instead, it will be sorry, I just had it and I lost it. It will be Orange Cassidy versus Gabriel Kidd.
Which should also be awesome.
Should be awesome. There's no rhyme or reason to it, but I guess you're just replacing a talent for a talent. You know what I mean?
That's it. Sometimes you got to do it.
For those of you who are heading to the shows this weekend, the latest cards that I have, unless anything else changed, was Capital Collision Saturday, April 15th in Washington, D.C. Hang out with the Mark Order podcast. Motor City Machine Guns versus Okada and Tanahashi versus Aussie Open in a triple threat for the New Japan Strong Overweight Tag Team Championship. That should fucking rule. Kenta versus Eddie Edwards for the New Japan Strong Openweight title. Naito and Takahashi versus Sanada and Kanemaru.
Newly crowned Sonata.
Yes, that's right. Tomohiro Ishii versus El Desperado. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tom Lawler for the New Japan World Television Championship. David Finlay versus AR Fox. That should also rule. Fred Rosser versus Juice Robinson. Chuck Taylor, Leo Rush, Rocky Romero, Clark Connors, and the DKC versus Kushida, Volador Jr., Speedball Mike Bailey, Gabriel Kidd, and Kevin Knight. And Shane Haste and Bad Dude Tito versus Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson in the pre-show. Collision in Philadelphia Sunday, April 16th will be Hiroshi Tanahashi, Leo Rush, and Tomohiro Ishii versus Aussie Open and TJP. Lance Archer versus Juice Robinson in the semifinals for the IWGP US Championship #1 Contenders Tournament. Naito and Takahashi versus Kenta and Chase Owens. Orange Cassidy versus Gabriel Kidd. Fred Rosser and Rocky Romero versus Sanada and Kanemaru. Zack Sabre Jr., Shane Haste, and Bad Dude Tito versus Filthy Tom Lawler, Jarrell Nelson, and Royce Isaacs. Alex Coughlin versus Tracy Williams in a Ring of Honor Pure Rules match. And El Desperado and Volador Jr. versus Delirious and Kevin Knight. Both events will be streaming on Fight. Saturday show is $19.99. Sunday show is $14.99. Or you can purchase both for $29.99.
Plus free Mark Order stickers.
If you hit us up, absolutely. And especially at the events. If you're going to be there, we're going to have stickers. So find us. The only other thing I got is that AAA Triple Mania 31 Monterey. The main event is going to include AEW mogul and former Impact World Champion Swerve Strickland. If you couldn't,
yes, it will.
If you couldn't figure that out,
it'll also feature friend of the Shining Wizards, Sam Adonis, I believe.
Yes, I believe you're right.
Because he has the title.
I don't know. I don't have all that shit.
Who
I just
the
know.
opponent is, because it's Alberto Del Rio.
Oh. All right. I just was actually able to find the card. So this was as of, I want to make sure I have the date. This was as of yesterday. So I'm pretty sure this is up to date. You're going to have the AAA Mega Championship Hijo de Vikingo versus Commander versus Swerve Strickland versus Rich Swann.
That's going to be wild.
Should be a great match. The Guerra del Rivalidades.
This is my favorite part of the show, is just watching you try to say Spanish names. I'm so here for it.
Guerra del Rivalidades.
Yeah,
Blue Demon Jr. versus Blue Demon Jr. and DMT Azul versus Roosh and LA Park. Another Guerra de Rivalidades. Pentagon Jr. and Alberto El Patron versus Psycho Clown and Sam Adonis. Chessman with La Hiedra versus Surprise Luchador with Mr. Iguana. In a mask versus mask qualifying cage match, Laredo Kid versus Antifas versus Octagon Jr. versus Villano the Third Jr.
versus Antifa?
In Antifaz. Versus Argenis versus Mystices versus Aerostar versus La Parca Negra.
Wait, what's the one that's a third generation? Because that was
it looks like Villano Third Jr.
He's actually the vet. He just likes to bring
That's
it
right.
up.
Versus Aerostar versus La Parca Negra versus Abismo Negro Jr. versus Torres. Final two advance to the mask versus mask match. And that's when the mask versus mask will be TBD versus TBD. And then in the Copa Triple Mania, Team Chilango, Negro Casas, Dave the Clown, Latigo, Arez, and Lady Shani versus Team Reggio, Toscano, El Zorro, Baby Extreme, Flamer, and Hio de la Park.
Baby Extreme?
It's in English. I get that one. Baby Extreme.
I need to check out Baby Extreme.
AAA also announced the surprise luchador will wrestle Chessman. So I don't know. It's going to be 7 p.m. on April 16th, available for streaming through Fight TV, or part of the Triple Mania bundle. Single show you can order, or part of the Triple Mania bundle.
We're not going to be, so who cares?
No. With the Tijuana and Mexico City chapters later in the year. So, you can order the bundle and get the other ones coming up. But again, we ain't seeing any of that cash, so do what you will with that information. All right, Kate, that's all the news and note I got, unless you have something else you want to add.
Just that we had Sky Blue, Billy Starks, and Brian Cage all signing this week, which is great. We had Nigel McGuinness, I think, was this week too, or last week.
Yeah, it was announced last week that was right. Official. They did that the night they announced Wembley.
Yeah, that's right. That was all one day, but just good to see some good talent getting locked in. I know Nick Wayne was signed as like one of those can't even legally do this yet, but bright future contracts. I'm glad Billy Starks got signed to one. She's had some really strong showings on ROH as well. So
yeah,
a lot of good contract news coming out of AEW. Good for Brian Cage too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think they wanted to keep Cage around. I think they like Cage. I think it was a couple things to work through, and I'm glad he decided to stay, because you know what would happen if it went to the other place? Mid-card fucking hell. He would just get lost in the fucking shuffle.
He's the kind of guy they like there, but it's just too unstable right now to try and.
They do like guys with him, but they have so many guys like that what are you gonna do with him? You know what I mean?
Like, I just also like they just merged for $9.6 billion. Like, I don't. It's just too unsteady. Like, nobody knows who's in charge. Like, generally after a merge, there's cuts, right? Like, there's so many things in play. So I'm glad. I'm glad that people get to work where they want to work. That makes me happy.
And the interesting thing too, Kate, was Ryan and I were spitballing on Billy Starks too. Friday she wasn't like officially signed, and I don't know if it was officially like announced yet, but I know that like Shivani had mentioned something somewhere like, oh yeah, we signed Billy Starks. I haven't done enough digging around to like see if anything was official, but I know that Schlong and I were sort of talking about like Billy Starks and sort of like what could be her path. I'm sort of, I was thinking about it. I put it out there on Friday, and I sort of been marinating with it. And I would actually like to see her do something when she comes back. I think her and Chris Statlander could make a pretty fucking mean team.
Yeah, that could be really fun.
They're like roughly the same size and build. They could be a pretty menacing fucking women's tag team or faction, or maybe not a faction. I mean, we're starting to get fucking faction crazy, but I mean,
they're both
they could
so
do something
likable
crazy
too.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
That would be fun. Well, Kate, if there's nothing else to add, let's pull the train into the station. What do you got going on, and where can people follow you to find out what you got going?
Sundays on Fightful Overbooked. Kate and Joel call it in the ring. Mondays on Fightful Select. Doing the Raw review Tuesdays. Do the NXT Sour Graps post show Wednesdays right here at the Mark Order Podcast. Thursdays ROH and Impact on Fightful YouTube, and Fridays AW Rampage and SmackDown review over there. But this weekend, Ant,
road trip.
We're going to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that is probably what I'm most excited about right now. I can't wait.
It'll be a lot of fun, and you're going to get an Eddie Kingston figure out of it, and it will be out of my house. And Schlong's going to get a Nyla Rose.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to get it into his bubble, but he'll have to figure that out.
We'll figure it out.
If you want to keep up with Schlong, he's usually on the Mark Order Podcast Twitter Mondays and Tuesdays, live tweeting dark. Couldn't be bothered with tonight. I think he said something about a weekly quota. That's why he's not here tonight, Kate. He was grumbling something like, I got to do a fucking Friday show. I'm not doing Wednesday. Fuck off. So
something with contracts and appearances. It was
whatever.
Fucking diva.
Whatever. Technically third mic, so he's like expendable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. We're the professional crew.
That's right. You know what? If need be, Kate, we could just pull. I mean, listen, Handsome Kevin seems to be, available.
He was on 70% of the show just in the commercial break, so it's kind of like he was here anyway.
I mean, he seems to be just out there for hire. So we could always just be like, hey, handsome Kevin, you want to be part of the Mark Order podcast too? Sure, why not?
Gun for hire, Kevin Rogue.
Boom. So make sure you follow along with Schlong on Mondays and Tuesdays. He would always say, don't be a dick and I'll interact with you and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that just goes in general. Don't be a dick. We like when people aren't dicks. But yeah, don't give us a reason to knock your dick in the dirt, right, Kate?
That's right. That's right, or I'll bite your feet off. Oh, that's so gross.
Ugh, gross. Don't make us send the switchblade Jay White after you.
That's right. Well done, Ann.
See, I took a break. We're all good. As for the rest of our stuff, you can follow us on all social at Mark Order Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Our YouTube handle is at Mark Order Pod. So make sure you're following us everywhere. And if you're following us on one platform, you can find all of them easily instead of searching them out. You could find them all in our link tree. We have everything linked, so you could just go there, click the link, hit a follow, subscribe, whatever. It does help us out. So, if you could take a few minutes to do that, we would love for you to do that and follow along with us. The other thing you could do is you could get some free stickers to show your support for this podcast. All you got to do is click the button to request free stickers and give us your full name, your full mailing address, the country you live in, and your email, just in case we have questions about your address. Because there were a few times where somebody was like, send it to Ireland, and it had a weird address, and I was like, I hope it gets there because I can't contact you. It did.
174 Shillelagh Drive, Shamrock, Ireland.
It was something really fucking weird where it was just like such and such fountain. And I was like, it's literally going to deliver it to a fountain? Like,
Wayne?
This can't be right. No, I missed that place. So anyway, hit us up and we'll send you out some of these free stickers.
Hell yeah.
And a thank you letter too. We send you a thank you letter. Thanking you for the support.
When it says we,
it
me. Means you.
But I like to give credit because I'm selfless.
You are. You're a professional.
I try to be. If you would like to support us by financial means, by more, we more than appreciate that. Head on over to our Pro Wrestling Tees store. There is a link directly to that in our link tree, but you can just go to prowrestlingtees.com/markorderpod. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. It's you know what it is, Kate? I don't mean to cut off our pitch for shirts here, but
please.
I'm feeling the energy boost from this Celsius peach mango green tea.
Oh my gosh, must be all the sugar in that drink.
No, Kate, there are 0 grams of sugar.
What?
0 sugar in this. 10 calories, gluten-free, kosher, non-GMO. I love the product. What can I say? And it's not sparkling because I'm not really supposed to be drinking sparkling beverages. Love the Celsius. We're not a paid sponsor, but we would love to talk to somebody at Celsius because I love the product. I really do.
Excelsius.
Anyway, back to our shirts. Head over to our link tree, click the button, go to prowrestlingtees.com/markorderpod, or if you're already on Pro Wrestling Tees, just search Mark Order Podcast. Our store will pop right up. We have 4 shirts available for purchase, 2 of them single-sided print, 2 of them double-sided print, and that money goes right back into this show so we can help make this show better, as well as do some other cool things that we want to put in the process, ordering stickers, doing all that kind of stuff for you guys. So we thank everybody who decides to order a shirt. So thanks in advance if that's something you decide to do. Thanks to everybody who watched along live with us tonight. Jesse Ozog, Cabbage Sensei, Gordon Post, Asian Joe, Sloanamite, Joseph Suarez, the broadcast checked in. I'm going back. Kate, who checked in from Excite that you wanted to shout out?
Oh, Mike, my fellow commentator over there.
Boom. David
Mike
Bauer.
from Indeed too, from Fightful Overbook. David Bauer.
Marky Mark Kayfabe. Yep. The
Hell
broadcast checked in. So we had a active chat tonight. Sorry we didn't pull much up. We were just we were on a roll. So we do see you chatting though and interacting with each other. We love seeing that. We love a community of people who sort of connect to each other and can talk about this stuff in a fun way. So so thank you for checking us out live. If you're listening to us in podcast form, we greatly appreciate you too. If you are listening in podcast form, it does help us if you subscribe, rate, review, like, all of those things help us out. So if you take a few minutes to do that, we appreciate it. And if you've never checked us out in video form, you can always head over to YouTube, where you can also subscribe, like, review videos, and see, like, when it's the professional team here, when it's the the 2 Live crew, me and Ryan, when it's the professional team of Kate and Ryan. I have to say that, Kate. Oh,
No,
it didn't on my end, so everybody still will have heard it. But I said the not so professional team because I'm not here. So
Right. No, I understand. You're not wrong.
Run-ins by Matt. When we have special guests like the Captain stop by and Rate the Great and Concerned Citizens, that all lives on along with our bonus episodes on YouTube. So feel free to go check us out if you never have. But yeah, that is it from us tonight. I got nothing else. So, Kate, always a pleasure. I look forward to our road trip this weekend.
As do I.
So again, to all of you lovely people out there, if you are heading to any of those shows, certainly hit us up and let us know. We're going to be around at the show. We'll have some stickers. I have no idea where our seats are, Kate. So I don't know if anybody's watching on Fight, if we'll be visible anywhere. But I can tell you one thing.
We know Matt. It's probably like front row.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it.
No, I wouldn't be mad about it.
But I can tell you one thing. We will not have on Mark Order podcast gear because we don't have it.
No, that is correct. Maybe a Shining Wizard shirt?
No, absolutely. I'm not fucking promoting that. Forget it. No.
Fair.
I'm in business for one guy and one guy only. Or I'm sorry, one show and one show only. That's the Mark Order podcast.
Respect.
Right? Come on, people.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, check us out again next week, every Wednesday, 10:15 p.m. after Dynamite. We're here to talk through it all with y'all. So thank you to everybody for checking us out tonight. We will see you again next week. And have a great rest of the week. Maybe we'll see some of you guys in DC or Philly. Who knows?
Hell yeah. Say hi.
Please say hi, especially to Matt.
Mostly to Matt, yeah.
Just
we'll talk to you, but Matt just he lives for it.
Kate, I think the best advice we can give to anybody, this is truly my last thing. I don't mean to keep extending. Truly the best advice we can give to anybody, I think, is when you meet Matt, you should just say, "Oh, hey, big fan of the Shining Wizards," and give him a hug unprovoked.
100%.
You maybe don't even say anything.
Notoriously
just hug him.
shy. So you have to be the one to open up for the hug.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, he is shy, but when he tends to not be shy, he can scare you off. Just ask our good friend, the Switchblade, Jay White.
Very nice.
He thinks about Atlantic City now in a fearful way, like
He
most
does.
of us from New Jersey do, but he really does.
But for different reasons. Yeah.
So anyway, check us out if you're there, and if not, we'll be back next Wednesday here on the Mark Order podcast. I don't know if we'll have Ryan back. He might not be out of the bubble by then, but we'll see. Tune in, find out.
Sanitized too.
Oh boy. All right. See ya.
This concludes the Mark Order podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Join the Mark Order.